I'm out of here.
I go leave the meeting.
Everybody leaves once the recording starts. I've had it with you guys. But so yeah, there's no oceans. It's all more or less land, and there's not a lot.
It's a big lake.
Yeah, there's a lot of. Yeah, there's some lakes, but no large scale saltwater or oceans type stuff. It's all lakes, springs, that kind of stuff.
Right.
There was some tectonic activity in the past, but that has essentially simmered down. So no active volcanoes, though the soil itself has a lot of volcanic material in it. So there was in the past a highly volcanic activity period, but it would have been it would have been a while ago. And he did leave. Andrew did leave. Oh, here he's back.
No, he's coming back.
Well, once I found out recording was in progress, I accidentally did click leave meeting instead of continue. So
there.
Yeah, so the soil has a lot of nutrients in it, and it's very robust. That allows them to, grow things here that they just able to grow foodstuffs, human edible foodstuffs in quantity. And so the commercial arrangement with Cymbeline is exactly that. Tewfik sells its excess produce to the Cymbelinese market. And
it works well for both parties as long as one party doesn't take advantage.
Right, exactly. And to the Cymbelinese credit, they've never taken advantage. They've never tried to sort of dominate these guys politically, right, or that kind of stuff. And with the Cymbelinese in their war that they've got going on, they probably are very glad that they have.
Wait, was that the group that kidnapped Patty Hearst?
Yeah, the Cymbelinese army. that was them.
Okay,
they left the planet.
It sounded familiar.
Secretly she was in cahoots with them. Her family is funding them.
Damn you, Patty Hearst! What have you done now? So yeah, this with the Kajuki or whatever they call them, Kaguks. The Cymbelinese are fighting the Kaguks. But from the Cymbeline standpoint, that system to have their own sort of personal food production planet is a huge bonus for them, right? Because they don't have to set aside the resources. They probably can cut some deals, and all they have to do is not be dicks about it when it comes to their culture and stuff, and everything works great.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah,
that won't last.
never does. That would be the bird.
And you hear my bird?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. It's all right.
All right. Well, she likes to game too.
Does she?
Oh yeah. Well, she just likes to Zoom bomb. She loves to attend WebExes and Zoom meetings.
WebExes.
Yeah. Well, that's what my company uses.
Is it?
Yeah. Well, we're banking, so we had to be secure, and with Zoom, all that shit that was going on last year.
Zoom was not secure. It is not. I'm working. I'm pimped out to Boeing right now, and Boeing uses WebEx also. Okay. Boeing is all about security. So
yeah. So we have to be. So
now. Do banks still use the 9800 baud modems because they won't invest on faster systems?
9800 baud? Where do you work? We're 2400 baud. What are you talking about? They're secure.
They're secure. They're point to point. There's none of this crap over the internet.
Yeah.
Point to point. That's a phrase I haven't heard for a long time.
It's big in banking.
Yeah, and we're still using OS2.
Now, I got no problem with OS2 because it is a very secure, stable system.
Yeah, for being 20 years old.
And not supported anymore.
Right. So yeah, it's very secure. Nobody's gonna hack that shit.
Nobody wants it.
Right.
Most ATMs are running it.
What?
Actually, at one point, most ATMs were. Actually, a lot of ATMs are running Linux now, aren't they?
I don't know. They won't tell us that stuff.
Okay.
I think a lot of our stuff is run off a system called Bankway. and then Salesforce.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, sometimes Google Chat. We have, instead of using Microsoft's, we use Google
Docs.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled with it. I mean, they do some stuff really well, but it's not the same.
Well, if you're interested in security, I don't know that Google is the way to go.
I don't make these decisions. And, you know, look, if I was interested in security, would I have spent all those years working in advertising?
No, good point. Good point.
All right. Well, Oren's just going to have to go to bed or roll a character because this.
All right. Well, so we can start without him a little bit. So I mean, last time, let's talk a little bit about last time. So last time you guys pulled into Cymbeline, you met with Sergey, and basically negotiated a deal by which you would get some guns on the ship, some defensive measures. There was all kinds of stuff. The captain negotiated a pretty good deal. It was a little more expensive than you wanted, and certainly a little more expensive than you had on you. But Sergey was like, "Look, you guys are friends of Seventide. For you guys, I'm already giving you a discount, but I've got this thing I want you to do that I'm willing to knock off half a mega credit if you just do this thing for me." He's like, "My uncle lives on the planet in the Tewfik system. It's not that far away. You can get there in your shuttle while we work on your ship. Basically, I've got a couple of crates of pharmaceuticals." He's like, "Look, they're sort of backward people, very religious focused. They like their privacy, but they also they live in a place." And the way he explained it was, they live in a place where a lot of things grow, and that includes bacteria and viruses, and so they always are fighting the latest and greatest kind of things to try and how do I put this? Health problem causers grow quickly here, as well as regular food. Hey, there's Eric.
Hey, sorry.
Like they need a good doctor.
They need a good doctor. So, but they need a good doctor in the sense that they need a doctor that follows their specific brand of religion and that kind of stuff, which may not be all that conducive to a lot of stuff. So basically, Sergey's like, "Look, I've got an uncle there. Sometimes he reaches out and he asks me for certain pharmaceuticals. It's usually antibiotics or some sort of retrovirals or something like that. That means some sort of bugs popped up there and they need to stamp it out again." He goes, "I make the arrangements. I send it over there. Who am I to say no to my uncle, right?"
Sure.
So I just send it over. And so I got a couple of crates of this stuff that I got to send over. I was going to send some of my regular guys, but they're busy with some other things. There's, I had a couple of guys that joined joined the war effort and all this other things. And he's like, "Look, I tell you what, we're going to have your ship in dry dock for probably 2 or 3 weeks at least. It'll take you the better part of a week to shuttle out there. Tell you what, deliver these for me to my, on Cymbeline. They're expecting it in Tewfik, so you don't have to worry about it. It's all on the up and up. Deliver these crates, and I'll knock half a mega credit off the price. Too good to pass up." You guys were like, "Okay, we'll do it." They load the thing. Everybody seems to go out there. You spend an easy 5 or 6 days kicking back, playing video poker, and basically hanging out, breathing each other's stink on the slice of lime. You get there. You set down on the planet, and it doesn't take long. It's only a couple of minutes before. I mean, you would talk to some people on the actual sublight radio from the planet, which shows you sort of the tech level of this planet. And they were like, "Look, yeah, we're on the way. We'll pick it up. That you guys are expected."
Meet us here. They gave us coordinates.
Yeah, and there was a little landing pad there. It's about maybe 8-10 miles out of that town. from here. This town, hopes, hey, whoa, easy there. This town over here, so it's off in the hills a little bit. You set down, and it's only a couple of minutes before a sort of 8-wheel open top, carry-all tractor kind of shows up. There's a bunch of guys there, and as you get your first taste of the local gravity, and you kind of come out and just go, oh my god, it's so hard here. But it's warm here. But the gravity has done something to these people over the generations, where they essentially are short, very stocky, very powerful looking, and they're like, they seem comfortable. You guys are just like, oh my god, this gravity's gonna kill us. But they're like, hey, we're here for the thing. You guys are the guys from
Here you
Cymbeline.
go. See you later.
So you guys are like, okay, yeah, help them load it. That here you go. Yeah. And everything seems fine. And you guys help them load it. They sign. They have all the appropriate paperwork. You guys sign off on it, and they're like, all right, thanks a great deal. Well, appreciate it. And we'll catch you later. They take off into the night. 10 minutes later, you guys are going through. It's like, all right, do we want to, pre-prep and get the fusion reactor ready?
Go into town, have dinner, or get out?
Yeah, you guys are sort of like just sort of port. Well, do we even want to check this out? When you get another radio call that says, we're on our way to meet you. We're ready. We'll be there to pick up the shipment shortly. And you're like, we just handed off the shipment to some people. At which point there's a loud pause on the radio, and they're like, stay there. These other guys get there, and it's a totally different crew. They've got these weird sort of uniforms, which are like these sort of black and white uniforms on, and they're like, what happened to the load? And you guys are like, hey, look, there's a bunch of guys.
Captain said we should give it to him.
Yeah, Captain did it. You guys are like, hey, some guys showed up. They had a carry-all. They had the right paperwork. We had contacted people from Orbit, and they were like, yeah, you talked to us from Orbit. They were like, they came and picked it up. We thought it was you. And they're like, was not us. So after a few sort of radio calls into whoever they were calling into, and, a little bit of like, well, what are we going to do? I don't know. What are we doing? They're like, you guys need to come with us. We need to talk to the elders, and find out and get to the bottom of what happened here. So, if you will please get in our car. And they have this big sort of like truck looking thing that they have.
Lots of space left because none of the drugs are going with them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's tons of get in the back where the crates should be. But yeah, they're like, we need you guys to talk with the elders. Now, did you guys talk with the elders at all last time?
We left right here.
Okay, cool. So they're polite. I mean, they haven't placed you under arrest or anything. But they're like, oh god, not again, that kind of thing. But they're like, look, you're gonna have to explain what happened to our bosses, so that they understand. And
you're gonna have to explain to us who these people were.
Well, there's
how they knew where to be and what we were carrying.
Well, yeah, they're these guys in the uniforms. They're not saying anything about that kind of stuff. So they're like, we'll talk about it later, kind of thing. So we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it at your trial or your execution, whichever one we decide to tell you.
I mean, you don't get the vibe that you guys are like under arrest. They're just like, look, you have to explain what happened to the elders. And they'll explain more about what's going on, I guess, but like and they'll even say you're not under arrest or anything.
Okay.
Because we didn't do anything illegal. So
well, right, exactly. I mean, why would they? You guys are technically you guys are helping them. So I mean, by bringing this stuff in now, not actually bringing it in is troublesome, but it is what it is. So yeah, so they're like, could you please get into the truck? And we're going to take you in the city. Now it's pretty late at night, so there's not a lot going on. I would guess probably 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night when you guys land. It's definitely dark out. And you could sort of you saw the city in the distance while you were landing. Not a lot of lights on at night. So you're guessing these people are early to bed, early to rise types. As befits an agricultural planet. So not a lot of traffic on the roads or anything like that. But your guess is there's probably never a lot of traffic on these roads. It just doesn't strike you as the kind of place. All right, do you guys get in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So they drive you. It's not. It doesn't take long. The truck that you're in goes maybe 20 miles an hour. So it takes a little while to maybe a half an hour to get into the city. And when you get the city, I mean, it's very much. I mean, it's a city in name only. Your guess is that the population here may be 8,000 to 10,000 people. It's small, and you don't see any. The only buildings that you see that are larger than like maybe 3 stories are these enormous, and you can sort of see one of them sort of in the thing there, these enormous silos, which in some cases are a couple of 100 feet tall, where they've got all this material in, this space where they can hold agricultural material. And there's several of them sort of out on the outskirts of the city. But other than that, you don't see any much happening. A couple of like little things that look, a couple of places that look like they're open, that look like they might be, taverns or gin halls or something like that. But you eventually go pretty quickly to a sort of squat stone building, brick building, that gives off every indication of some sort of administrative center. Truck parks out front. You guys, are helped out of the truck. They're like, come with us, and you are escorted up these big stairs into the building. Building looks like it's quiet. I mean, most of the lights are off. There's not a lot of people here. Like I said, it's by this point, it's about 11 o'clock, 11:30 at night. Most people who work here are probably at home in bed. But you're brought pretty quickly into a fairly large office where you see 2 men sitting behind one man is sitting behind a desk. The other is sort of standing next to him. The first man he looks like he's an administrative guy. The second man looks like he might be his bodyguard. So let's have a look at those guys real quick, why don't we?
Jesus.
So the guy on the left is sort of the administrative guy, and he's kind of wearing this sort of like, it's kind of like a business suit, but it's kind of like the kind of business suits you would see among people that don't wear business suits very often. He's a squat guy, a strong guy. He has some tattooing on his head. The guy next to him, you can see he's got gray hair. Also, so squat, heavy set, sort of standing behind him. He has the bearded, the white-haired guy has what looks to be a large ceremonial saber next to his, sort of in a sort of a tooled belt on his thing. It looks ceremonial. The grip has various kinds of like fancy filigree and shit on it, but it looks like a saber. The odd part is that he's wearing it, which you have not seen. You haven't seen any guns on these guys at all. So even the original guys came to pick up the thing. There was no weapons in evidence at all, and I don't think you guys have your guns on you, do you?
I don't, no, I mean, I just assume that I would not be needing to bring a machine gun.
I have my body pistol on me.
Okay.
But it's concealable.
It's concealable.
I
All right.
have what's in my arm.
Okay.
I guess I would have my pistol, sure, but it's just
Yeah.
pistol.
Okay.
Eric considers himself unarmed when he only has a pistol,
Yeah.
2 daggers, and a spoon.
Precisely.
I'm completely unarmed. All right, so they sit down, and they basically sit you down, and the administrative guy says, "Hi, my name is Elder Rikus Grunveld. This is Elder Piet Herndon, my associate, and we have been somewhat briefed on the confusion that took place this evening at the landing pad, but we ask that you please tell us what transpired and what ultimately led to the crates of pharmaceuticals, which we desperately need, being delivered to other people." If you could explain it, please explain this, how, and so the other guy, so this Piet guy, Ernden, he goes, "Are you in league with the separatists? Did you deliver the medicine to them deliberately? Is that what this is about?" And the other guy's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa." The other guy looks over. He's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa. We have no He's like, "Piet, my friend, we have no evidence that there is any collusion going on with the separatist elements. Please, Please, these are men who have come here to deliver us a package of pharmaceuticals. Let us hear their story. The other guy seems quite dubious about it. He thinks, you get the definite impression he thinks you guys are working with some group called the Separatists.
Which we will make sure they know we weren't briefed on anything about separatists or any.
I had no idea. We had no idea about separatists.
What?
We didn't know there was a war, or maybe we wouldn't have handled the transfer so quickly. We thought this was a peaceful planet.
It's not a war happening. We do not have war on this planet. We have a small but vocal group of people who feel that in their inexperience they feel with the arrogance of inexperience and the totality of knowledge that exists within youth, they feel that they would be a better qualified to run our society, or at least have a much larger demonstrative voice in how we do things than those of us who have grown up following the paths and who have lived here following the way of our culture and our religion. My friend Piet is a very highly religious man, and he bristles at the idea that anyone would scoff or wish to make changes. But I have he looks over and he smiles at his friend, and the other guy just kind of scowls at him, and he goes, I, on the other hand, have the benefit of having been young in the past, and I understand from the space from which the intellectual space from which these separatists come from. They are not separatists. They are they are our families. They are our friends, but they have different ideas. They are just too inexperienced to understand that we have found the perfect way for us to follow the paths of the gods and to engage in our society and lives in the way that the gods wish us to. And Piet is like, they are violent. They wish to throw everything that we hold dear into the dust. I won't have it. Piet, I know your history with these people. Please, we are only trying to find out what is going on. Gentlemen, I apologize for my friend again. Please, Piet, hold your tongue. And you see him kind of just like, he's a little sulky, but he's like, please go on. Tell us what happened.
So we do.
Captain, go.
All right. So you basically say what to these guys?
Well, we've got no reason to hold back, that we landed where we were told to land, and were met by people that we expected to meet, people at that spot who knew what we were carrying and knew why we were carrying it. And so we assumed they must be the people we were delivering it to.
That is troubling. Obviously, traffic control to this planet is handled from this administration building. It was our people, obviously, not these separatists who contacted you when your vessel entered into our atmosphere. There was a short delay due to some mechanical issues that we had to deal with our container truck, which delayed us momentarily, but somehow these people.
Part of the setup.
It is possible now that you mention it. You have to understand, we are very devout people, and we do not typically engage in deception or intrigue. We are unused to it, and frankly, I'm saddened that these young men and women who act so fervently that would sink to such chicanery. It saddens me, but nevertheless, we very much need to find these crates.
Outside of talking to them, I'm talking to the GM right here.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, my understanding is that the people that inhabit this planet are kind of like
dwarves. They're dwarves.
A religious sect, kind of like the pilgrims, when they came over.
Kind of, yeah. So
Okay.
Very agriculturally focused. This was the perfect planet for them, right? So they found something.
But it's a common religion that they all share.
Yes. Keep in mind that there may be 20,000 people on this whole planet.
Okay. And my understanding from just what they said is that the younger ones, the separatists, are actually more zealots of the religion than these people have become.
Well,
Or is it the other way around?
to an extent. Well, I mean, no. Well, basically, what they're saying is that these young people are saying, look, there's better ways of doing things that will continue to be within the parameters of our religion. So, but whereas the old guard is sort of saying, look, we have created this environment for ourselves so that we can practice our religion in a way that is perfect for us. It doesn't need to be changed. But there's a subsection of the younger generation who is saying, we need to, there are certain elements, and they don't go into detail about what those elements are. So,
Okay.
but it's not like that they're like more religious. It's like they want change. They feel that maybe the religion is static. Maybe there's,
Okay.
there's certain
Kids wanting change is normal. So, okay.
Yeah. And that's the vibe that you get from this Rikus Gruneld is that, hey, look, I get it. These, there's always going to be a younger generation that feels that they know better, that wants to make changes. It's important for us to treat them indulgently, which the other guy, this other guy, Piet, does not feel indulgent at all. He's like, we need to get out there and clunk their heads together.
Do you want to just off a couple of the top ranking ones and the others will fall in line?
He's like, absolutely not. We don't want anybody. He's like, look, we don't want. He's like, we are, by and large, and he goes in a roundabout way of saying this, but he's like, by and large, we prize unanimity, right? We all want. We are at our best when we are all thinking the same way about the way we are supposed to live and
all
walk
thinking the same. Yes.
Right. And he's like, look, young people naturally tend to stray away from that. They bristle against that. We understand that. We accommodate for it. He goes, but this group of people has become much more vociferous than previous generations. It's, they're engaging in these kind of like acts of petty sabotage and trying to make the administrative apparatus, the religious / civil apparatus that controls the planet, trying to make them look bad, trying to make them look foolish. And really, they're only hurting themselves. All we want is for them to understand where we're coming from and to abide by the guidelines and rules that we set aside for the appropriate way to follow the paths of the gods. And we don't want them hurt, but we do need the things. He goes, enlarge.
Don't hurt any of them.
Right. And he goes, but enlarge, and he goes, at the same time, in large part, we cannot act heavy-handed towards this group. We need them. They are our sons and daughters. They are farmers. They are ranchers. They are an important part of our culture. Which provides us, frankly, with a unique opportunity here, in that you're here. I can assume that none of you here are followers of the paths of the gods, which gives you a certain freedom to act that members of our religion and citizens of this planet wouldn't otherwise have.
So you want us to kill them?
I absolutely do not want you to kill
them. Dan, don't kill them. Don't.
He seems genuine, but you look over at Pete right when he says that, and you see him sort of nod, and he's like, "Oh no, I didn't nod." Hey, and there's Matt. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Matthew.
What's happening?
Hey guys, how are you? Sorry I'm late.
Good.
How are
Shake it, buddy.
things on the space station?
Everybody good?
Yeah, good.
We're all
I
good.
didn't hear this person specifically forbid Doyle from beating their children around about the head with a spoon.
I think that's probably
He
on the
did
table.
not.
On the menu.
Can we feed these kids soup?
How does religion feel about stew?
They're like, we're good with stew. He looks over at Pete. Pete's like, yeah, sure, stew's fine. So you definitely get the vibe that this Piet guy is much more. I mean, given the opportunity to do so, you suspect that there would be a fair amount of ass kicking if Piet was in charge. But the other guy seems very much on a reconciliation thing. He says, like, look, you guys can act much more freely than we can. I'm not going to go into, the rules and responsibilities of following the paths of the gods, but the reality is that we need this. We need this medicine. We've had, I'm not going to, it's an important pharmaceutical that we require. We need to get that back. And my worry is that in their zeal and in their willingness to take an opportunity to sort of make us look bad, what they'll end up doing is somehow destroying the pharmaceuticals.
Why do you think they took the pharmaceuticals?
To make them look bad.
I think it's to make the central authority look foolish. They've engaged in
people will die.
It's. I wish I could explain it. I think they are acting very much outside of the paths of the gods. I think if they only understood better what following the paths of the gods means to us as a society, they would never have done such a thing. I think it was just a foolish and probably impulsive act that they will certainly regret. And Piet's like, oh, they're going to regret it, all right.
Do you have an idea where they would have taken this? Where do they gather?
Sadly, I don't. The good part is this is a small planet, and so my hope is that you might be able to use some of the skills that we ourselves don't have. I mean, we don't have, and he kind of goes on to talk about, he's like, they don't really have a police force here. They have the guardians, which are the guys in the uniforms, which are sort of like a ceremonial, they're not military. They're sort of, they're sort of a combination of security guy and janitor. Kind of thing, right? So they're people who have progressed far in their religion, that they reach a certain point where they come into direct service of the elders. Now that service takes many different things. Sometimes it's sometimes it's as simple as being a chauffeur, and drive, getting the people from place to place. Sometimes it's filing and office work and things like that. Sometimes it's picking up crates from the shuttle. The only shuttle place they have. They're not cops though. And he's like, look, we don't have law enforcement. We have a collective system that if somebody violates the paths, they're usually talked to by a group of their peers. The bulk, you're in the middle of the largest city on our planet. We have around 9,000 people here, which is approaching half of the population. The vast bulk of our citizens live in small villages of 250 to 500 people. It's agricultural, and these are small farming villages. They have their responsibility is to produce the food that we consume ourselves, and that and follow the paths. That's their only responsibilities. And usually, if there are people who drink too much and do things that are out of order, it's usually their village elder, and every village has one that is responsible for correcting them. But we don't have police. We don't have murder.
Village elder for this group.
Well, so he's like the city. He's like the lead city elder. There's an elder. So he'll go into and say, look, there's a council of elders that runs sort of the city group. And a lot of what happens in the city is food processing and packaging and transport, that kind of stuff.
Getting it ready for shipment.
Yeah, shipment prep. A lot of what little entertainments. This is also the spiritual center of the planet. So there's every villager is required to make a pilgrimage here once in their lifetime to worship at the great temple, the temple of the paths. Beyond that, and he's like, that, but the bulk of our population lives in these villages. He goes, the separatists, as he calls them, I call them, something different, but they come from many villages, usually on the far side of this planet. They feel that they have a variety of sort of discordant goals, but they feel like they should have a larger voice in the civil administration of and the religious administration of the planet. When what they don't seem to realize is that they haven't progressed along the paths far enough to gain the wisdom that they need to be effective administrators. And he goes off on a little bit of a tangent. He's like, look, I have studied my whole life the paths of the gods. I have worked my way up from I was born on a farm just like many of these people were. I studied and I walked the paths of the gods and I lived the path, and I have done that for well over 30 years. And by virtue of that, I have grown in increasing responsibility. And that's what it is. It's a responsibility. They want to take authority before they have the wisdom to do so. And I understand the impetuousness of youth, but to allow them to do so would show that walking the path appropriately is not is not necessary, when indeed it is. You have to walk the paths of the gods to understand how the paths of the gods work and be able to administer those of us who follow those paths. He's like, look, I understand where they're coming from. They're just being impetuous.
This seems like a sort of a Demolition Man situation, but it's unclear if we're the John Spartans or the Simon Phoenixes of this situation here.
Well, he's like, look, with your experience, obviously you are outworlders. You understand many of the things that we do not, and you obviously seem quite capable. Capable men. I know that you have weapons, aboard your ship, and that you're familiar in their use. It is my hope that the use of those weapons, that you will use those weapons in manners that do not cause harm to my citizens. I would insist upon it, but we just simply are not. We have argued with them. We have tried to reason with them, and now they have crossed a line. And you're absolutely right. I think that they have made a huge mistake by stealing the shipment. I want you to help us correct that mistake and correct the mistake that you've made by allowing them to take it.
Well, I'm going to use charm. Did the pharmaceuticals happen to have any kind of a tracker or beacon?
I don't know. Did they? So that would be
No.
I mean, that would be something you would want to ask Sergey, but probably not.
No.
I mean, Sergey didn't mention anything about a beacon.
There'd have been no reason to, really.
Yeah, he didn't mention anything about any strife like this at all.
Back on
may
the
not be
shuttle,
aware
I
of it.
probably have my stun sticks, so we probably should want to take, if you guys have stun sticks, we want to use those rather than our little pistols and stuff, because we want to keep them alive.
Well, that's my favorite weapon anyway, so I'm good.
And from there, we'll just see if we can track the path they took, because these guys have no idea where they might have gone.
It's possible that we do know the names of the most vocal of those who question our wisdom. One's name is Baruch Muller. If anything, he could be said to be their leader. His deputy is a Tobias Vaish.
ISN.
And they hail originally from a farming village called, ironically enough, a path of wisdom that takes a lifetime is the name of the village.
And yet they don't listen.
Because it takes a lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay. How are we going to find? Do you know where? Do they have a house where they stay, or a headquarters, or a?
That I don't know. I can. Piet, do you know? Do the Guardians have any sort of information on that? And Piet is like, we do not have any exact locations of them at this time, but I will. He looks at you and he says, I will query the people that the people that work for me who have been investigating these men and women, and I will bring you information tomorrow first thing.
Thank you. Thank
He's
you.
like, and so the other guy's like, Rikus is like, it's true. It's just after midnight now, and I have had a long day, which I'm sure you have had as well. Did you? And he looks at Pete. Did you hail Mr. Hugot? And he's like, yes, I have. You mean Godfrey Hugot? Yes, I have asked that he come. And Rikus looks at you and says, Godfrey Hugot is the man. He works for us in the civil administration. He is the man who has a nephew in Cymbeline, who helps us with the procurement of various pharmaceuticals and things of that nature. Is my understanding that his nephew is known to you? His nephew Sergey?
Yep.
Yes. So,
Mr. Hugot has advised that he will be here shortly, and you will be. We do not have what is the word? And Piet goes, hotel. He goes, we do not have hotels in the sense that you're probably used to. A part of the paths of the gods is there is the path of hospitality. So you will be guests of Mr. Hugo tonight.
we
How
are
many casinos?
honored. Oh my God.
He looks at you. He's like, this is a word I do not know. What is a casino?
Yeah, it's places where you have fun.
Oh, we have. He smiles. He's like, then a foreign word. We have many places of fun here in the city, which I'm certain that should this unpleasantness be taken care of in a swift way, we would welcome you to come and enjoy them. Many of our local products are available for eating and drinking, which I think you will find amenable to your sensibilities. We make a fine wine on this planet, which I'm certain you will enjoy. There is a livestock show in just a few days, if I understand, which is very popular and can show off some of the
livestock entertainment. Yep.
Livestock entertainment. I am certain there are a few chaperone dances that are taking place as well. Do you enjoy to dance?
I love to dance.
And yeah, I think you would. We can make arrangements so that you might guest at one of our dances.
I can't wait. Thank you so much.
But of course.
So I'm just trying to get more of a substantial, significant idea or clue where the separatists, the young people, might have spirited away the pharmaceuticals.
For all we know, they might have brought them into town here, but we don't know where they're at.
I mean, he's like, look, he goes,
for all we know.
Yeah, we just don't know. And so he's like, look, I'm hoping that you will be able to find this out.
Now, would you be able to summon Baruch Mueller or Tobias Vache? Or do you know where they are that we might be able to go and talk to them?
I do not. Sadly, they ignore I've tried to summon them many times in order to converse about their differences and try to assuage their feelings of inconsequentiality and things of that nature. But sadly, the last several times they have simply refused my request.
Okay.
So to this, unless they are in their own villages, which I doubt, I have no idea where they might be.
Okay.
Thank you.
But guest with Mr. Hugo tonight, and perhaps he will be able to give you more information, and we will regroup again in the morning to see what it is we can do next.
Sounds good.
So at that, he pulls out a like a communication device. It looks like an old cell phone, right? The old big cell phones with the flip out kind of thing and that kind of stuff. And he hands it to you. He says, keep this with you. We will be able to contact you through this device in the morning when we will hopefully we will be able to see you then.
How quaint.
He's like, I'm sure it is not as as sophisticated as the materials on your ship, but we embrace a simpler life here, and part of that is only using certain kinds of technologies that we find to be useful, and not embracing other technologies that we don't.
Well, real sorry about the mix-up. We're gonna go retrieve the pharmaceuticals from these young people. We're not gonna hurt them. We're gonna do this as quickly and quietly and peacefully as we can.
Okay. So the guy's like, great. He calls in Mr. Huguet. He says, please tell Mr. Huguet to enter, please. And a guy comes in, and he looks like this. He's old, older, bald, wearing some homespun. He's not wearing a suit, like Elder Rikus is. And he says, my name is Bertram Huguet, and I offer you my hospitality for this evening. And then he just sort of stands there, sort of like in expectation. And then after a few moments, Rikus says, they do not understand our ways. And he goes, I appreciate that. And Rikus goes, if you would be so kind as to accept his hospitality, Mr. Huguet may take you. Can take you.
Captain?
All right,
Okay, thank you.
let's go.
Okay. So Huguet sort of looks over at him, and he says, you may consider that to be acceptance of your hospitality. Please depart. And he's like, all right, come with me then. And so he walks out sort of in forward, and you guys follow him. And eventually you find yourself on the street where you see what looks to be a fairly old model, kind of like space pickup truck. It's ratchety. It's obviously it's not internal combustion. It's some sort of. It's got a bunch of big solar panels on the top, but it's pretty raggedy. And he's like, I apologize. This is my only vehicle, so hop in the back.
Lovely.
So he's like, hop in the back.
Everybody knows you hop in the back and then you pound on the side, let them know you're ready.
Yep. And so you guys hop in the back, and he takes off down the streets. It goes maybe 10 miles an hour. But it's actually quite pleasant evening drive. You guys are like, hey, we're on the pickup truck. Comes to a small house. You feel like you've got to about the edge, not the edge of town, but certainly out of the city, the center. It's a fairly large cottage style house with a big garden out back, which from where you can see just like shit is just growing wild out there. I mean, you can see various kinds of plants that are growing like crazy out there. So very interesting. He's like, please, he goes, I apologize for the formality. Eldar Rikus and Eldar Piet, Eldar Hirnden, they are the leaders of our religion. Not all of us stand so much on ceremony. Please be welcome in my home, and I very much appreciate you taking the time to tarry with me this evening. Tell me, how is my nephew doing?
He looked great. He seemed healthy and happy. I think I can also tell he's a man of business. No fooling around. I respect that.
He's always been very kind to me. I know that he thinks that I am what the phrase, an old fool. There's no
I think
fool
you
like
said
an
crazed
old
lunatic.
Yeah, crazed lunatic. Oh, I'm sure that he said that. Sergei is my favorite nephew. I've always admired his forthrightness and and as you say, his business acumen. I myself am not a businessman. I am a small civil engineer and a farmer. But please come in and make yourselves at home. And so you go in his house, and it's obvious that this is the home of a single older man. There's no frills to this place. A lot of wooden furniture, comfortable but older. A lot of stuff looks like it's been repaired a lot of times. He's like, I hope you'll take the opportunity to drink a little bit of the latest vintage with me. I have several bottles. And he starts looking up. You do take alcohol, yes?
Sometimes. Wait, I've been.
Take it and drink it.
Excellent. So he pulls a couple of like bottles. They don't even have labels on them. They're just like written on with Sharpie. And he pulls out a couple of, a bunch of mismatched, glasses. Some of them are made of glass. One's a stone mug. A couple of them look like carved wood that he may have carved himself and sort of sanded out and covered with, some sort of stain. But he throws, pops a couple of these bottles off and puts it in there. And the delicious smell of wine. I mean, this wine smells fantastic. The odor coming out of these cups, and it fills the room. He's like, "To your health," and drinks a large slurp of wine.
Great.
He also says,
I'll
"Look,
have some.
my nephew is comes from my family, so I know that our elders may not have been 100% forthcoming with you about the reasons. I'm sure they said something along the lines of misguided children, engaging in impetuous activities. Am I at all
Yes.
incorrect?
Yes.
Impetuous was used frequently. Yeah.
Impetuous, I should tell you, is one of Rikus's favorite words. He himself is not an impetuous man, a very devout man, but not at all impetuous, which lends him a static air. Elder Rikus would be more than happy if things on this planet never changed for centuries before and centuries to come. And many on this planet share his feelings. This is a great deal of our religion discusses the path. There are many paths of the gods that deal with the idea of fighting and avoiding changes and embracing the way things have always been done. There are several paths of the gods that deal with that. Rikus is one of his paths. That he has taken is among them. So he is very much amenable to change. However, what he probably did not mention to you was the type of problem we have here on this planet, on Tewfik, that requires this medicine. He did not go into detail, did he not?
No.
He's quite embarrassed. So you've seen my planet. You've seen what we do here. Things grow here. You could take a seed and throw it in the ground and take a good shit on it, and tomorrow you will have an oak the size of a spacecraft in your garden. It is the nature of our soil and the nature of our planet, and it has been a bounty to us. But like the oak, like the maize, like the wheat, other things grow here as well. And the problem that we have now, or I suspect we have now, is that of what we called colloquially here, decordy. Decordy is a fungus. It first struck us perhaps 15, 18 years ago. We had the first incident of the cordy. Some people call it the cord. Most people call it the cordy. Some call it the walking black. Some call it the fungus that walks. It has many names, but it is the same thing. Essentially, it is a fungus, and it grows well here. And when given the proper conditions and the proper food, it can become a very dangerous organism. The problem is, it is also a very dramatic organism, especially to those poor people that it infects, and it is dangerous in a sense that it is dangerous to us from the idea that it debilitates our bodies, but also it is dangerous politically. We grow the food for Cymbeline system here. We grow our own food. If Cymbeline were to learn that we cannot control our cordy outbreaks, well, there would be problems with accepting foodstuffs that are perfectly healthy and contain nothing of what they fear. But as you know, fear is a pernicious thing.
Does the medicine help with the cordy?
It does. Sadly, it does not. It is essentially a vaccine. Sadly, it does not. Those
Cure.
infected. Those it does not cure it, but it prevents you from accepting it.
Okay.
Somebody getting a message? It's okay. Was that you, Andrew?
Yes, sorry.
Yes. So the poor victims of the Cordy, they cannot be helped, and they must be.
There's no recovery from the disease.
There is not. Once the disease has infested an
So
organic
moving
creature.
on to the next life is your only choice.
That is correct.
So do I
Hence-
have any inkling what this walking fungus might be?
So Cordy is reminiscent of the idea of cordyceps, right? So you are very familiar with cordyceps. Cordyceps was a Terran fungus that had a very interesting habit of infecting and essentially replacing the nervous system of a variety of insects, and to a lesser extent, certain small mammals. What it would do is once an animal or an insect was infected with this cordyceps fungus, the cordyceps would grow within the creature's nervous system, eventually supplanting its reason and sort of will elements of its consciousness, and basically take over the nervous system of the creature, so as to put it into and it would essentially drive the creature sort of like an automaton and put it into situations where the cordyceps fungus would be able to multiply, basically put it in contact with other creatures.
Like the zombie ant situation, right?
Right, exactly.
It's true. It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. So in this case, what you're getting is that because of the strange natural fecundity of this planet, the cordyceps fungus, or some variant of the cordyceps fungus, has gotten here and has jumped. Well, frankly, from the sort of ghastly look on Mr. Hugott's face when he talks about it, your suspicion is that it's jumped to people. And you have never heard of a situation on any other planets where the cordyceps virus has jumped to people, but
I don't know what I've heard.
I'm it's possible you haven't heard it, but I'm the GM. I know what you've heard and what you haven't heard. Don't shame me.
Don't make the GM angry.
You can't shame me. But yeah, basically that would be a very problematic thing, because if a cordyceps fungus took over a human nervous system and decided to put that human in situations to spread that fungus, that could take a variety of interesting sort of methods.
That fungus among us.
So yeah, the good part is that they're probably easy to spot, because one of the things that the fungus does is it tends to grow out of the sometimes of the exoskeleton of an insect, or even out of the skin and flesh of a mammal or a small
A
animal.
host.
Yeah, the host animal. So the likelihood is that if you have cordyceps infected humans on this planet, they'll be real easy to spot.
Well, so I've got plenty of
They'll have
jock itch powder.
mushrooms coming out of them or some shit.
I feel pretty confident I can deal with this.
All right. Well, certainly, I mean, I think you would know that there are fungicides and fungicidal vaccines that will work. They've been used in things. Cordyceps has been basically eradicated in a lot of other places because of this. And certainly the cordyceps, you would know, Dr. Wagner, that the cordyceps organism is not complicated. As long as it's caught, and its present, if its presence is detected and various kinds of animals, livestock, humans are vaccinated for it, it's not a complex procedure. The problem is when it gets a hook in somebody, you're toast. It cannot be cured.
Okay, so nothing to do, huh?
I have
Well,
jock
not
itch.
really. Yeah.
No, jock itch powder will take care of that.
That's a different fungus. I'm not a fungi guy, but
You sure?
well, I'm a little itchy, but that's for totally different
You're
reasons.
not a fun guy.
So basically, he's like, "Look, it's the Cordy." He goes, "I guarantee you, that's what the problem is." And he's like, "Look, I work in civil administration, so I can't really, I don't know enough." But he says we've had outbreaks periodically, usually at very small villages. Something happens, and then the next thing you know, the first one when it happened, he's like, basically, we didn't know about it. A lot of these villages, are sort of self-contained. They have their own water supply. They do their farming. The only time we really see them is at the various harvest times when they're scheduled to deliver the products of their work to a central processing location and then onto the city for transport or processing for internal use. When the first one happened, and this is 18 years ago, and it was news at the time, but we didn't, it's not unheard of for a village not to be in contact with nearby villages for a month or two or what have you. So nobody thought about it until they missed their delivery window. This was haymaking season in the spring, and they're like, "Look, where's the village?" They didn't show up, so they sent some guys out there, and they discovered the first cordyceps infection that had attacked the people there, as well as the livestock. And it was a very dangerous situation, and nobody really talked about it, but the understanding was that village was sterilized in the old-fashioned way.
Wow.
And then we didn't hear anything for years, but every once in a while you hear rumors, or there's a news item that seems odd and out of place, and one can't help but suspect that it's another cordyceps breakout and that they have to take care of. With this medicine, though, the idea is that if we can vaccinate in time, if they catch it early, then they can limit the damage to one or two areas, one or two people, and that's it. Why the for lack of a better term, separatists would have taken these pharmaceuticals is beyond me. They've really done something that, if it does turn out that we have a cordyceps problem and they've taken the medicine that can solve it without having to sterilize an entire village or something like that, they've really stepped in at this time. This is not good for them, because if they're hoping that they are winning some sort of popularity contest against the staid old elders, doing this is not going to win them any favors, especially if it gets out further.
That's what doesn't make sense, that they would allow or cause deaths.
Well, maybe they don't know.
They're being controlled by a hybrid of the cordyceps.
Oh.
Ooh.
Just speaking in sci-fi, logic.
An intelligent version of the cordyceps fungus?
Sure.
If that's true, that's only what answer? Leave the planet, and
It's a hypothesis at this time.
hey, but if it's true, wow,
What we need to do is we need to get close to somebody who's suffering from it and see if they're uttering Emotep.
Wow.
Well, let's get a good night's sleep and wake up and find.
Yeah, I mean, do you have any more questions for this guy? It's closing in on 2, and you can tell that he's got a lot of work in the morning. So, but I mean, he's happy to answer anything.
Did he give us any advice about where to look for him?
Well, he's like, look, the separatist ethos is, I mean, Elder Gruneld wasn't wrong. Young people chafe against the order that we have here. Most always they begin to follow the paths of the gods. They pick their own paths, and they learn the wisdom that they need to understand why we live the way we live. And they grow out of it. It's like any, and it's happened so many times that it's become sort of cliche, right? The young hate the old, and the old are like, these young people, they don't respect the old ways. And then young people become old. They follow their own paths of the gods. They learn with their places in society, and they become a much an ingrained part of that society, and the process repeats over again every 35 years or so. But in this case, these groups have been so basically what he says to you is the young people on this planet, the younger generation of this planet, sort of empathize with the separatists, but by and large, they, he's like, my guess, and he's like, what I've heard is that it's a very small group of people who are trying to disrupt and embarrass the elders, to the point where the elders are forced to make some sort of capitulation to these guys. Yeah, it makes concessions, include some things, and the elders are reluctant to do so, because then it sort of invalidates the idea that you have to take the paths of the gods, depending on what god and what path you take brings you to your wisdom, right?
Right. You do it for this generation, you have to do it for the next, and then it gets out of control. And
right, it's a break in the chain, and they're very unwilling to do that. They were like, look, and Rikus for his part is like, look, I want these guys to remember what we're about here. I want them to get in a position where they are following the paths of the gods in the ways that make sense, and turn that energy, turn that that desire for success, for change, into something that will work within our society and improve our society without destroying it. But he's like, they're going about it the wrong way. And generally you get the impression that Mr. Huguet sort of agrees with Rikus. It's like, look, they're misjudged. He goes, however, I know, as part of my work, I work with some young people, some people who have expressed a little bit of dissatisfaction. Perhaps I can put you in touch with them tomorrow.
I want to talk to him. Yeah, please.
Okay. He goes, you should know also that unless I miss my guess, the elders would have authorized. He goes, I like you guys. He goes, and I think you can help us here. I think your hearts are in the right place. And my path leads me to believe that you guys are here to help us. And so that I have to tell you that the likelihood exists that the council has placed upon your ship some sort of mechanism that would preclude you from leaving our atmosphere.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
You should know about that. I don't. He goes. I'm telling you that because I want you to be safe.
What precludes us from leaving the atmosphere? I missed that.
Well, they don't. They probably, if they want you to help them with this, they don't want you to just hop in your shuttle and take off. So the likelihood is that they've put a pressure sensitive device in your shuttle somewhere.
Awesome.
That if it were to hit vacuum, might trigger some sort of event. I thought, but my path demands that I share that with you.
My path demands that I say that blows.
Sorry.
I hope you're stupid planning anyway. All right.
Well, I gotta tweet that. My path.
All right, got it. Okay. Well,
all right, so we got to go find a bunch of space farmer kids and rough them up a little bit, get this meds back. That's the plan.
yeah, looks like it. All right.
I hope you appreciate it. I put a alien space farm in the background of my Zoom to really add the flavor.
Ooh, that is a cool alien space farm.
Alien space farm.
Yes, I bet these guys are stronger than oxen.
You get every impression that they are. I mean, so like the wood and the furniture in here, you kind of bump into it. As you sit in it and kind of like moving around, you get the impression that it's very heavy. You guys are just like wiped out. The gravity on this place is like it's nearly twice Earth gravity. And
Yeah.
you guys are after a couple of glasses of wine, you guys are on the verge of like passing out.
So I missed part of this, but does this mean we're going to be running like Baywatch slow-mo and we're trying to chase somebody? Because we got to plan ahead. Okay. So no chasing, guys. Only trapping.
Right.
Jumping from a hidden location and whacking somebody on the head.
All right, so he gets you guys bedded down. It's a little rough and ready. He doesn't have a lot of guest rooms and stuff like that, but he does. It is comfortable, and he's like, "I'll see you at dawn for breakfast." And he heads into his own rack. You guys have a fitful sleep. This gravity is difficult to sleep in. There's a couple of times when each of you wake up, you know, from nightmares of drowning. You know, there's it's uncomfortable. You do not get a great night's sleep, but you do get a few hours of rest and wake up the next morning. The sun shines bright and yellow in the sky, and the house, this cottage that you're in, has a great view of the sunrise. And you can hear Mr. Huguet kind of kicking around, and the smell of eggs and bacon and some sort of frying tomatoes maybe is coming through the thing. And you can see him in the kitchen, and he's sort of humming. He also has the wine bottle out still, so he's obviously not allergic to a morning tipple, as he's rustling up what seems to be enormous amounts of breakfast food. And he says, you're up, excellent. And you know, begins dishing up all kinds of like scrambled eggs with onions and peppers and celery chopped into it, and you know, big honks of cheese, you know, everywhere, that kind of stuff. And you guys are like, the smell alone is just makes your mouth water.
No, I'm hungry.
And he puts out, you know, the same glasses that you guys drank wine out of. There's still a little moisture in them where he's obviously washed them this morning. And he puts a couple more wine bottles and a pitcher of water. And he says something like, usually it's tradition for breakfast to take a half measure of water with each of your wine, you know, that kind of stuff. So, but feel free, go ahead. And eventually he sits down and he's like, I'm going to introduce you today. I'm sure they'll want to talk. And so the likelihood is that the elders will want to speak to you this morning. And they're going to want to know what we spoke of. If possible, please omit any mention of the Cordy. I don't know that they want you to know that, but I felt it was part of my path to make sure that you knew. Also omit any mention that I might have cast aspersions on the civil administration for the installation of the device in your ship. That device does not work if you know about it. They want to keep you here. By the time breakfast is over, you do get a call on that antique cell phone. And it's a person. It's not either of them, but it's like, you know, we want the crew of the Slice of Lime to please come to the civil administration building. Blah, blah, blah. And they're like, the elders will see you at your earliest convenience. And he's like, you know, you guys respond or anything like that?
Yeah, sure. We'll be right there.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna grab some grub, and some coffee, and we'll be there soon.
Okay. So the same thing happens. In fact, the Guardians come back to, in this case, Mr. Huguet's house, and pick you up so he doesn't have to drive you. He's like, hope to see, come back and see me later this afternoon. We'll continue our discussion. And he's like, you know, that kind of thing. And then you guys go back. It's the same two guys. They don't look like they've gone home. As far as you can tell, Elder Rikus is in the same suit. It might be his only suit. The other guy is still looking a little dubious about the whole thing.
Yeah.
But Rikus is like, I hope you've had a moment to sleep on everything, and perhaps you've spoken with Mr. Huguet. He is a resourceful man. I know that he could be a good source of information to you. Have you formulated any sort of plan to see about the procurement and return of the missing medicine?
As soon as we find out where they are, we're gonna go there right away. I'm still not sure how to find these guys, and I thought that my friend Piet over here had some.
Piet is there. He's standing there.
Mr. Piet, do you have any leads or clues, ideas?
I do know of one man in the city that we suspect has connections to the separatists. His name is Rolf Wertnerin.
Mhm.
And he can be found. He can usually be found at a gin hall over on Decacalion Street.
A gin hall?
He gives
Badass
you.
name.
Yes, he is not. He's not a proficient follower of the path as yet. It's my hope. Well, it was once my hope that this Wertnerin might choose a path worthy of the name, but he seems content to besodden himself each evening and perform as little productive work as is possible. I do not find him to be a very good man.
Sounds like our kind of people. That name alone makes you want to invite him onto our ship. So they say, hey, Rolf.
Rolf Wertner is his name. My suspicion, and the suspicion of several of the Guardians that I have enlisted to my aid, is that he may procure information for the Separatists. I do not know how. He has no job of that gives him any clear access to the information that these men might want. But we're looking into it. But he can generally be found in the evenings at this place, and it's called the Dudecacalion. It's a gin hall in the city. Perhaps you might put him to the question.
His name is Werner.
Rolf Wertnerin.
Wertnerin.
Wertnerin. Yeah, Rolf.
Ralph.
Let's not hurt ourselves with that last name. Just Rolf.
So
Rolf.
torture him to get questions answered.
Dudecacalion. All right.
A name like that, he might be into it. He's like, that's all you got? Why don't you tweak my nipple?
All right. Well, and you said that he's at the Ralph Wertnerin is at the Dudecacalion in the evenings.
Most evenings, yes. He finds what time he has been allotted by the gods. He wastes without following the path and without doing any productive work. It is almost certain that he will be haunting this gin hall this evening,
Okay.
as we're going into our long weekend.
I see. And you
Long weekend of work.
happen to have a home address for Mr. Wertnerin?
I do. He's like, do we have that information? The location of his domicile, and one of the guardian kind of steps in and is like, "I'll get it for you, sir," and sort of runs out, and he comes back with an address on it, also in the city.
Great, good. So, okay, we're gonna start work. We find the opening, we try to make it bigger. And so we start with this little
Incision?
Ralph. Yes. Great.
Elder Grunald is like, please. I know that you are not of the paths, but please, I know, and it pains me to employ violence. If it is all possible, please avoid it.
He stole your stuff, sir.
Don't worry, sir. We don't mind at all.
I think they are. He goes. I differ from my friend Pieter in that I think that they are simply misguided, and that once shown the error of their ways, they will return to us the vaccines with all due alacrity. I think they've just simply made a mistake, and I would prefer that they learn from this mistake rather than pay the ultimate sacrifice for it.
I see. And so you believe that Wertnerin knows the people who fooled us, tricked us, and stole your medicine?
He looks over at Pete, and Pete kind of looks. He goes, "We have very little information on this, but we suspect that this Rolf is known to them and that they have used him for various sorts of services from time to time. We have not been able to demonstrably link Mueller or Vaish to Rolf Wertnerian. But like I said, we are not accustomed to detective work."
All right.
Well, Mr. Doyle here is very effective at persuading people to be open about things and share information.
His motto: "Please hammer, don't hurt him."
I'm here to help. I'm here to help. That's all. So Wertnerin knows Mueller and H.
We suspect that is the case, or at least that Mueller and Vaish know Wertner, and that they may.
That's where we're going to start it.
They may work through cutouts, but it is our understanding and perhaps guess that the Separatists have used this. The Wertnerian holds sympathies, as someone of his lack of character might, with the Separatists, and that they have used him in various aspects of a variety of natures in the past.
And this guy's going to be at the gin hall tonight, you said?
The Dudecacalion. He's there almost every night, filling his useless brain with good Tewfik gin. It's a waste of it on him, if you ask my opinion. He's a lackabout and an idiot.
I see. Okay, thank you. And what's the address of the Dudecacalion Gin Hall?
It's on that piece of paper there.
Gotcha.
It's
All right.
123 Decadecalion Street.
Thank you. And where's
Like a Dr. Strange.
It's like
got it. And
you just watched that the other day, by the way. It's on Netflix.
great. And where's the nearest gun shop?
There is none.
Well, both of them sort of like sit back and they're like, "I'm sorry, perhaps you misunderstood our discussion last night. We don't have guns here.
I
We
see.
don't have firearms here.
Got it. I understand. That's fine.
That is a
there
path we have chosen. That is a ungodly path that we have chosen not to
You move
follow."
outside?
I follow you. Okay. I just thought I would ask. Do you play sports on this?
Many sports, yes. We have sports ball, which is
Sports ball.
popular everywhere, and we have knee ball, which is a popular sport among children, and we have frolf.
Great. And is Frost okay?
Frisbee golf.
Just be golf. Got it. Got it. Is there a sporting goods store nearby, sir?
Oh, certainly. There are many places where you can buy all manner of frolf and sports ball equipment. I'm certain that one of the guardians will point you to the nearest one if you wish to go there.
Thank you. And is there by any chance a haberdashery?
Of course, we very fine clothing is made here from our natural hempen and flax clothing. We also have certain agricultural polymers that we are able to manufacture clothing out of. As you can see, this suit is made from those agricultural polymers. It's all wrinkly and kind of gross, but
Thank you very much. Okay. So we are gonna go out and start to just gather some information.
if you would be so kind as to provide us your information, the information that you gather on a nightly basis, so that we may provide any assistance that we have.
Cross-reference and assist.
Mhm.
Will do. We're pros. We're professionals, and we take pride in our work. The Gin and the Tonic crew, we aim to be the best, and so we are gonna retrieve your cargo because this is a point of honor. Point of honor.
So what Eric said was well said, but I think the basic language translation turned into, we're from the government and we're here to help.
We're here to help.
That's right. I mean, I take pride in my work, so, and when some rapscallion tries to pull the proverbial wool over my eyes, why I object. Yes, indeed. And
So he's like, we do have a photostat of. We were able to procure a photostat of this Rolf guy,
oh,
so that you might be able to spot him, and if you see him.
can you tell me more about Wertner? Height, weight, what he looks like? Is he bald? Is he old? Is he young?
Don't forget gentle little tattoos. We'll need those.
Tattoos,
Mr. Wertnerin is nominally employed as a delivery driver here in the city. He's proficient with most of our 8-wheeled tracked vehicles. I guess if proficient means that he doesn't crash them into things very much. He tends to be a drunkard. He has neither spouse nor land. He has shown in the aptitude tests, he has shown very minimal application to the paths of the gods. In some cases, as far as we know, he has no genital tattoos. Mr. Jix.
We didn't see
He
photographic
said
evidence.
he said he tested he tested somewhat positively for the paths of custodial service, the paths of vehicular prowess, and the path of distillation science, and we encouraged him in the path of distillation science, but he did not seem to have any interest in the production of distillates as opposed to the consumption of distillates.
Yep.
We are hoping that he will begin following one of those paths of the gods very soon, and several of the guardians have expressed an interest in mentoring him along those paths. But as yet, he has failed to take up any of the nominal indicators that would be from a spiritual standpoint indicatory that he has become serious about his religious upbringing and his pathways work.
All right, got it. Thank you. And can you, I realize I'm asking a lot. Do you have any more details or background on Mueller or Veitch?
None. They are. I can tell you. I've never met them in person, but I can tell you that they are both quite proficient. Mueller has done a great deal of preliminary work in the paths of oratory. He's a tremendous speaker and is able to move the emotions and spirituality of people with ease and skill. Someday, it was always thought that he would become a significant elder, perhaps even chief elder, like my friend Rikas here. However, he seems torn in other directions. Vaish tested very highly in the paths of administrative acumen and administrative logistics. We suspected that his path would be one of bureaucracy. He is quite adept with both numbers and letters, and is able to do a significant computation within without the aid of paper or calculator. He is also proficient in the paths of angles and momentum, and has done some significant early work in the repair of some of our machinery. Obviously, that path is somewhat limited. We do put something of a cap on the new technology that we allow to enter our society. Although we do make exceptions for certain kinds of technologies. The communication device that you see that you have in your hand is obviously an exception to that rule, to our general rules. We do evolve. I do not, however, have photostats of Mueller and Vaish. I apologize. They are not from the city and have had no reason to have a photostat taken. Both Mueller and Vaish are village people. That came out wrong. Not village people, villagers.
The construction worker.
They have never been to the YMCA. It is forbidden. But they come from different villages, but near to each other, within 20 miles. It is our understanding that they met as children and became close friends, despite coming from different villages.
Right.
How often might they meet this guy?
That is unknown. We're not entirely sure that Whitnaren has ever met Vaish or Mueller. Our suspicion is that Mueller and Vaish have a series of attendants through which they may pass messages or make requests of Whitnaren. And we also suspect that Whitnaren is not the only rube through which they acquire those things that they need. They probably have a cadre of well-meaning idiots whom they have co-opted to their disreputable cause.
Hey, Doc.
What?
If we find one of these guys that's infected, do you know of a way of scanning for it, or would you be able to identify it?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. but it's not, it's very difficult to treat if treatable at all, but sure.
Okay.
You do know, actually, Wagner, give me a med check. This will be our first roll of the night after almost 2 hours. Let's get a med check from the
About time we had a roll around
from
here.
D-Wag.
Hey, watch it. Don't you be calling me D-Wag.
I feel like it's gonna stick. I think it's a great name. 13. All right, yeah. So you do know that, I mean, so there's not a ton of, I mean, all of the research that you've read about cordyceps and what it would do to a human subject is essentially speculation. There have not been any treatments or anything like that because there hasn't been any need to, at least in known space and among the medical profession. Cordyceps just simply does not jump to humans. It doesn't do that. Now it causes trouble where it is, but it has not, at least to your knowledge, jump to a human subject. That said, there's been a fair amount of speculation as to what might happen and what possible treatments could be enabled. Generally speaking, once the cordyceps fungus has entered the bloodstream and the central nervous system, it is speculated that if one is able to be proxemic to the victim in such a way that they are there when the fungus is introduced, it's possible to stop the overall spread by severing the infected area, but it has to be done quickly. So if one, for example,
sever the head and it dies. Okay.
Right.
Well, certainly killing the host causes the cordyceps fungus to die with the host, not instantly, obviously.
Right.
And there are instances of deceased host animals having live cordyceps fungus on them for, in some cases, weeks after the demise of the host. So it's possible, if it's in a human subject and that human subject is killed, that body is still virulent for a while, up to and including a couple of weeks before unless the fungus is able to find another host for which it could transfer.
Chop the head off, burn it right away. Got it.
Well, certainly fire is proof against cordyceps. The problem is you have to be careful around their seed pods because those are heat activated, and it could be that the varying. This is a warm planet. Okay.
How do they feel about a shotgun blast?
The host animals or the fungus?
It's not going to hurt the fungus that much. I mean, it's like shooting a plant.
Yeah. So the seed pods, or the fungus has fruiting bodies which form in sort of like a very hard shelled seed pod. It looks like, and those are heat activated, so those will release those fruited bodies into and they're not airborne; they're heavy. The fruiting bodies are heavy, so they are sort of like blasted outward, probably I mean. In from an insect standpoint, the effective range is probably 2 to 3 feet for those bodies to shoot out, but a larger fruiting body might shoot further.
Can we find anything that would do a freeze of tissue?
It's possible. Does Dr. Wagner still have that freeze gun that he?
I sure do.
Oh, he has a freeze gun.
Flamethrower too.
Well, I'm thinking cold might be better if they're going to explode when it's hot. Cold will make them dormant, and we can, dispose of them then.
I think that's a good point.
And they make excellent frozen treats in the summer.
Yeah.
A cordy pop.
Exactly.
Mom, can I have a cordy pop?
No, you can't. It's almost dinner time. No cordy pops until after dinner.
So freeze them and then dip them in some sort of acid. That would probably do it.
Oh, well, yeah, that would almost certainly do it. You don't have a ton of acid, though.
Well,
and you also just keep in mind you don't have the resources of the gin and tonic either.
No, but we got the freeze gun.
You got the freeze gun.
Somewhere on the planet, they've got some acid.
There's always urine.
There's always urine.
There should be a tweet.
I'm tweeting it.
There's
That's why I love having Andrew in this game. He is always a fount of tweets.
I'm just glad my parents are dead.
Wait, what?
Why? What? Wait.
So they don't have to read these tweets.
You're,
So they
you're
want- yeah.
glad, you're
What's
glad
this
your
tiny
parents-
Batman?
You're glad your parents don't read these tweets. Yes.
That
You're
would be
glad
much
that your
better.
parents are
You're not
dead.
allowed to read these tweets rather than I'm glad my parents are dead. It implies you killed them.
I know.
Could have been a freeze gun.
Just frozen. All right, so they basically like, look, contact us daily on this phone, and keep us apprised. If we find out any additional information, we'll obviously share it with you. You're just like, these guys seem to be chasing their own asses around. Even Piet, who seems to be the most capable guy, I mean, he just doesn't have the guys. They don't have a police force. They don't know how to do detective work. You know, and they're very, I mean, so the chief elder here, Chief Elder Rikus, is very inclusive, right? The idea is like, these are misguided youths if only could be shown the proper path in the proper manner, would immediately abandon this foolish endeavor and join in with the rest of society, just like their fathers and their grandfathers and their forefathers did, you know, when they wanted to rebel against this, you know, our cultural precepts.
Let's go find Whitnerin.
Okay. So as you guys leave the building, Huguet is outside and with his shitty truck, and he's like, "I've taken the day off. Hop in. I'll drive you back to my place, and we can maybe we can talk some more. You might have some more questions.
I'll teach you some card games.
I'll teach you some. Yeah, I brought a deck of cards and a laser pistol that I had under my bed. No, he doesn't have any of it. But yeah. So he goes back there, fixes you some lunch. He's like, "So what did you learn? Anything?"
Did we learn anything?
That's great.
Did we ever?
Sounds like you had a really great conversation
I
with
don't
those
think we
guys.
ever learned anything.
Mostly about Rolf, right? About Rolf and some of the.
Police
some of
Right,
the-
so you bring up today, it's
about-
like, oh,
about
Rolf
the-
Whitnaren. They think he's connected with these guys, huh? Okay.
Well, yeah.
I know Rolf. Rolf's a
They're just
dickhead.
waiting. Yeah, they're not doing anything.
Rolf's a drunk and a dickhead. I don't know that he would be all that hot to be a rebel of any
Yeah,
sort.
the only
but
thing I
it's
can understand
possible.
about, you know, if I was trying to hide out from anybody paying attention to me, being a dickhead might be a way to do it.
Well, certainly I would.
I
never
don't think
never
they
suspect him.
think Ralph is one of the masterminds, but he's one of the stooges that these people will use.
You love a good stooge.
Well, he hangs out at a joint called the Dudecalion. You probably find him there just about every night. He slops up as much gin as anybody. Keep in mind that this is a city of 9,000 people. These guys, they've met.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
They know each other. So he's like, yeah, he's always, yeah, pretty much every night he's up at that place slopping up gin. Honestly, I gotta be honest with you. I don't know that he would be a useful idiot to these guys, but you never know. Maybe you know, Piet's no slouch. So you want me to show you the place? Take you there?
So why don't we
It's,
go and
I gotta
yeah.
tell you, it's a bit of a rough joint.
Well,
why don't we go and just watch him, see who interacts with him tonight, and when he leaves, follow him, and then question him after he's left that place.
Maybe so. Yeah, I guess that's better than my idea, which was to go to his home, bust in. He'll be hungover, asleep, and question him in private.
Well, if we go and watch who interacts with him tonight, and then follow him to his house, and then break in, you know, it's the best of both plans.
Agreed. All right.
Hey, Captain, what do you think?
I'm
You
also
see
reminded that we
Coffin
might
Doyle in it.
want to disguise ourselves at some point, Tam, if that opportunity became available.
I was thinking that maybe the next day I could go in as
That's
Whitner
what
and-
I was thinking as well. We're
yeah.
on the same.
Okay.
We're following our own path, and we found our path.
The path of violence.
No.
Path of sneakiness.
No,
The path of sneakiness. All right. You guys might fit in well. You guys may lose a couple crew members on this planet to their culture. All right. So so you're gonna go Eric's plan in that you want to go visit this guy at his house?
no.
No. We're gonna go to the bar.
Yeah.
We're not gonna approach him. We're just gonna sit someplace and watch him. Blend in, drink, When he leaves for the night, we're gonna follow him.
Well,
Okay.
Maybe we can all go,
Well,
or at least not all sit together.
We should not sit together. We should be paired off or whatever.
Well,
Paired off. Oh, it's a date night.
Woohoo!
keep in mind that you guys look markedly different from most of the people on this planet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that blend in thing might be a little challenging.
Oh, and you blend.
Oh, you blend.
You know, Weber Jix can be a traveling vacuum salesman or something. I'm always ready to be. I'm ABC. Always be closing over here. I just need merchandise to do something. I guess.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. You guys have not seen another off-worlder in this place since you got here. Now, you haven't seen that many people.
So if we go in together, sit at a table of 5 at a round top, no matter where that table is, then one of us will have a view of this guy and can keep an eye on him surreptitiously.
So your entire plan is hopefully that this planet has round tops in their bars. Because if they have a square top, we can cruise.
Well, even if it's a square top, we'll sit around each side, so
Whatever shape it is.
somebody would be able to watch Whitnerin.
I think you honed in on the
It was
wrong
all
part
like-
of that story, man.
Yeah, I know. If they have an octagonal table, that's when we're screwed.
Oh man, not octagonal.
Hexagonal.
There's only 5 of us.
It'll work.
3 spots will not be used.
No.
It's only 5 of us. You have followed the wrong path. All right, so you guys are gonna go. Do you want Huguet to come with you? He's like, I do have a ton of work to do. I mean, you guys would be staying at my house. The path of hospitality is open to you. I've offered it to you, and I cannot withdraw that. But he goes, I don't know that I can go with you to this place tonight. He goes, I got a lot of stuff to do.
I don't think he needs to go with us.
Good.
All right, so you guys are gonna
He
wait.
just has to drop us off.
How are we gonna get back then?
We're gonna
Yeah,
take Whitner and Zest.
Are you going to be that drunk?
I'm gonna guess that he can come let us out of the local pokey in the morning when we all get arrested.
How far is this?
This town is like half the size of, or a quarter of the size of my town. You could probably bicycle across town in an hour, so it's not big. It's a very small town, so you could walk there probably in 20 minutes.
Okay.
Coke. We can find our way back then.
Well, yeah, we'll find our way.
Okay. So. What time of day are you going?
Well, right now, I'm gonna guess it's still morning, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like early in the morning, so he's probably not going to be there this early in the morning.
Yeah, it's a little early for day drinking, I think.
Nah.
Hey, you have to start early in the morning. You're going to drink all day.
That's a good point.
Um,
God dang it.
Gosh, dang it.
I thought we walk around the town. No, it's not. Should we? Maybe we don't want to be seen much.
Well, you do get so
Anywhere in town we go, we'll be seen because we stand out like a sore thumb.
Right.
So that's true. I mean, you guys, even though that little bit of traveling around that you did with Huguet and that kind of stuff, you guys are getting the hairy eyeball from a lot of people. You look markedly different.
Is there a cultural center we can go and visit at during the day where we might learn some of the local customs?
Not really. They don't get a ton of visitors, and those visitors that they do get are usually not interested in hanging out.
Right.
Hey, I was thought, why don't we go help Huguet for the day, learn some skills that we might feel blend in better later.
Okay.
And then we'll cruise over to the bar hopping a little bit later this afternoon.
That's doable.
We can do that.
All right. Well, Huguet welcomes the help, so he spends the rest of the morning and an early part of the afternoon working in his garden, which is about 3 acres. Refers it to his garden. He says it's different from his farm, which is about 40 miles from here, and is much larger. But this is his in-town garden, which is about 3 acres. And you are just struck immediately by not only how much stuff is in here, but how well it's growing. Everything grows here like crazy, and he's got all kinds of different. You have no doubt that that Huguet could probably, if he was a vegetarian, could probably supply more than enough food from this 3 acre garden to feed himself and probably a couple other people. And he's got all kinds of stuff here. And as you work at it, you realize that most of these cottages on the outskirts of the city have this same kind of garden situation where they have these large gardens that are producing food. It's like these guys can't help but produce a ton of food for themselves. So they've got all this kind of stuff, and he tells you that his big farm out makes the wine. He's like, the wine you guys drank came from my own grapes. It's not sophisticated. I don't. He goes, I drink it too fast to let it age properly, but he says it's pretty good all the same. And you're just like, that's pretty good, man. I hate I wonder what's going on with these guys' vintages, because it's probably unbelievable. And then there are you could hear the cluck of chickens wandering around, and there's squat little birds, smaller than your regular chicken, but obviously pretty tasty looking. So you guys help him a fair amount. It's mostly just like minor agricultural shit. And then in the afternoons, he says, look, I go to the central authority. I do a little work for them there. Most of it has to do with filing. There's always a need for people to file papers and stuff like that. We don't have enough people to do that. There's always more paperwork than filing. You get you're like, I don't know, we want to go back there. So you probably just while away the afternoon at his house. He leaves you there, with refreshments and what have you. And he returns around sundown with several fresh new paper cuts, and he has a drink, and he says, all right. He goes, my guess is that this would be about the time when work's over. So it's usually sun up to sundown. So after sundown, that's probably when Weirtnerian would be at the Dudecacalion.
All right, then let's go.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, so you guys go ahead and walk down there, and you can see that there's not a lot of activity. There's a couple, there's several bars and sort of gin halls open. They're fairly rustic places. There's not much in here. I mean, if this is very much a farming community, this is the place, if you live way out in the sticks, this is the place that when those people talk about going to town, this is town. But it's not a city by any stretch of the imagination. It's, like I said, it's about 9,000 people total. Everybody pretty much knows each other. It's small, it's cramped, that kind of stuff. You guys are, you get there pretty quickly, and it just says Dudecacalion gin, whiskey, beer, wine underneath it on the sign. You can hear people inside. Somebody is playing, or some piano music is playing, or something akin to piano. It doesn't sound quite like piano, but yeah, you could see and hear people inside. The door is wide open, and we will go ahead and switch maps. All right, you guys see that map?
Yes.
Okay, you guys come out on the street, and you can see that there is a lot of windows and
There's
lighter
red bars on everybody. We're gonna have to kill them all.
Well, that's up to you. I don't know that Elder Rikus would want that, though. He seems
What are we armed with? Are we
pretty.
armed with our?
Yeah, are you guys armed? Do you guys bring those pistols?
I have my pistol, and I think I would have the stun stick. I think is what I'm going to try to use.
Yeah, I still have the body pistol hidden on me, but I got the stun stick from the shuttle.
Okay.
I got sweetness 2 on me.
I've got my arm.
You have my arm and my leg.
all of my gear is back on the Gin and Tonic, which was stupid of me. I got
Well, all your gear is huge. We'll get you a spoon in here. There's a kitchen.
Yeah,
even just I got to.
always fan of the ladle. I hope that'll do.
Spoon of death.
We want to go in this door.
I'll just make do.
Those
I
are
kinda
windows.
like this little corner.
Oh,
This is the door.
that's a door. We want to go in this door.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So you guys go into the dodecahedron?
of course.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
All right. You go in, and the moment you guys step in the door, everything stops. It's like, screech on the record. Everything stops. Everybody's looking over to you guys, and
We blend.
yeah. And you see, there's probably, I don't know, maybe a dozen people in the bar. It's not super crowded, but they immediately stop talking and looking over at you guys. They're flat out staring. After about what seems like an interminably long time, this woman behind the bar kind of comes over and she leans over here next to where you guys, sort of by where you guys are, and everybody's still staring, by the way, at you, and the whole place is silent. And she goes, "Don't get many skinnies in this bar or in this town. Where you hail from?"
And my next wife
Where
here.
do we hail from? Did we even discuss that?
I'll just point up.
You're all like,
Would you-
"Bitch, we're from the universe."
Yeah, I'll just point straight up.
Straight up.
We follow the
We were
path
part of a supply
sky.
run.
You don't got the
Seriously.
smell. She's like, "You don't got the smell of Cymbeline on you. You must be from somewhere else."
Yes, we're from somewhere else.
Oh, it's keeping your own counsel, then, is it?
Well, again, as a player, Les, I don't know how to answer the question.
We were-
I don't know
Answer
what
the
you
question,
said.
you wee bastard.
We were contracted
Ah.
for a supply
You just say
run.
from
We dropped
here?
off our supplies. We're going to be heading back soon.
Okay.
I see. Well, like I say, we don't get any skinnies, but we serve almost anybody here. We don't discriminate. So, pick a table or come to the bar. I'll be over in a minute.
Thank you.
Dick's
You
is
know-
picking out a table here. There you go.
What did you
I
pick?
got my chair.
Okay.
How do you
There.
move?
You know,
Do you guys move
Come
your
on.
guys, or is there?
Yeah,
I
we're
moved
moving our
my
guys
guy.
on the table.
There's
How do you-
three
how
of
do you
us,
move them with-
four of us at this table right here.
How do you move with
There might be
precision? Is
more
it
room over at this
control?
one in the corner.
The
and-
little
have a-
banquet seating over there?
If you
Oh,
move
yeah.
him and hold down the Alt key, you can move him to any partial square you want.
You want to move to the park benches
Oh,
or
like
whatever?
my back would be
Well,
better. Nobody could sneak up behind me.
yeah.
How about right here?
Where are you
Oh,
going?
yeah. Wait.
Oh, over to the banquet. Okay. Weber, what the hell are you doing?
Wandering around.
Great.
Yeah, I'm investigating next around.
Just remind. I just want you guys to remind me when when we all get together in person someday. I'm looking forward to walking into a club that we've never been in with each other just to see what happens. Everybody's just like, where are you from? I don't know. Sit anywhere you want. Okay.
I wasn't expecting that.
The last club we were in together, Les, we were making new boyfriends.
That's true. But
You guys are amazing. Your suit really attracts a better
Sure.
class of people.
a certain clientele. Yep.
Yep.
All right, so you guys go over there by the banquet, or banquet, however you pronounce that. I always screw it up. I'm going to assume
Banquet.
Dr. Wagner over here.
Booth.
Jix, where the hell are you? You're there. You're over there.
Sam, you gonna join us?
Mehmet's staying at the table.
Well,
I've been in a shuttle with these guys for nigh on a week. I've had it with them.
we're I'll go sit with them. The original idea was to pick a round top so that we covered every direction, but they all grabbed a corner.
I want the round top too. What are we doing over here in the corner?
Okay,
We
so
can only fit 4 people at the round top. So
she gets a couple of more drinks for these
Visual-
4 guys at the bar,
Visualize
and
there's an extra chair there.
you hear her yell over to this table over here. "You guys need anything? Ah, what a good!" And so she comes out and out through the bar here, and she goes over to this table. Is like, "You'll get a good look at the skinnies, eh?" And they sort of seem sort of chastened, because they were staring at you guys. You guys sat down, and she's like, it's good that you get a good long look at the skinnies, you know, just in case, you know, of trouble. And they sort of seem like, oh, we're just having a look. We never, Sheila over there's never seen a skinny before.
No
And,
harm done. We're
We don't
harmless.
mind.
I'd
She
take a
does.
good look because I might need to impersonate one later.
All right. Well, they're all. I mean, they all share the very traditional characteristics of Tewfikians, which are they're short, they're squat, they're essentially dwarves, and powerful looking. So she comes
They
over.
share a lot of the same appearance. In fact, they're exact twins of the one sitting at the bar.
Isn't that weird?
Huh.
Sometimes your GM finds it difficult to find dwarves in a modern setting that he can use for pictures. All of them have helmets and warhammers, and that really doesn't fit with this. So
I study this guy.
Which guy? This guy here?
That's the guy.
He looks like someone I've been told to look for.
That guy? No, he doesn't look. I don't know who you're talking about there. So yeah, so she comes over and she's like,
Which
"All
is
right,
why this would have been a great table to sit at, everybody.
Well, then sit there. We don't have to sit together.
seriously, can't wait to go to a club with you guys someday. This is gonna be great." All right, so she comes over and she's like, "All right, we have a couple of." She's like, "Look, first, let me tell you, we don't serve food here, only drinks. So if you're looking for some place to eat, there's a joint down the road that sells great Hamish pies and steaks and whatnot. And if you're interested in that, we just have drinks here. Is that all right?"
Perfect. Thank you.
She goes, I don't get many skinnies here, so I don't know what you like. But we've got good beer, we've got ale that's fresh as a daisy. We've got wine that's a local vintage, about 1.5 years old, which is really good. Plus, we've got spirits just fresh from the distillery. We've got some gin and we've got some whiskey that's real good as well. If that'll tempt your palate.
Lovely.
That reminds me of a joke, Les.
Tell me the joke.
A cheeseburger walks into a bar and they say, "We don't serve food here."
Oh man.
Oh, God.
Now that reminds me of a joke. A bear walks into a bar and says, "I'll have a beer." He goes, "Well, sure." And he goes, and so the bartender goes, "Well, I'm happy to get you a beer, but what's with the big paws?" And he goes, "I don't know. I was born that way."
Oh, boy.
Oh my
Didn't see where that was going.
Not at all. And I'm
Horse
proud
walks
I
into a
didn't
bar, the
know.
bartender looks up and says, "Why the long face?"
That joke is so old; it's got dinosaur poop on it.
I
Um,
know.
All right, I think we've amused each other quite a bit. So you guys order some drinks. I'm assuming you just get a round of beers or
Round of
wine or
beers.
what have you. You all order whatever you want.
Wine.
And she goes back and you can see. So yeah. So I'm assuming Mehmet, you basically are like, he's right there. He's there. That's the guy. I mean,
So-
that's the guy.
I've noticed this community has a lot of twins, except for the barmaid and our guy. They're unique. Everyone else has a twin somewhere else in the bar.
And your point.
Twins just run in this in this gene pool.
I'm angry.
Look, I got to populate a bar. It's not easy, all right? You try it. You try populating a bar. Try Googling
not only-
modern dwarf on Google Image and see what you get.
Not only are twins popular, but they never associate with each other because he did space them out as much as he could.
I tried to space them out as much as I could. I will plead guilty on that. So, all right. So, yeah. So you do spot what could only be Rolf based on the photostat that you've seen. Sitting at the bar, he's sucking down some gin. He seems blithely unaware of you guys, or I mean, he's sort of like when you walked in, he was like, "Oh, skinnies," but beyond that, he's focused completely and utterly on his big glass of ice gin.
I'm gonna see if the bar seat at the bar opens because I want to see if I can get a seat next to him to chat him up a bit.
No, there's a couple of guys kind of clustered around. There's a couple of seats down at the end of the bar, but those guys that are sitting there don't seem like they're at all interested in moving anytime soon. None of them. I mean, if you're waiting for that one of those bar stools to open up, these guys seem like they're in for the long haul.
You want me to go hit on this guy? He'll leave.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Captain Black and Mr. Doyle, please give me an intelligence check.
Ooh, what is my intelligence? My God.
I gotta get organized here. Traveler. Where's my? Yeah. There we go.
That's a 9, so that's +1. Okay.
Taking a minute. I'm sorry.
Oh,
If I
Okay,
Oh, I'm already drunk.
that
Nothing
is
wrong with that.
great, Jen. I love it. I'm gonna have another big giant tumbler of it.
2d6.
2d6 plus your intelligence bone.
14.
Ooh, 14. All right. The captain looks like he's a little bit like he got hit in the head maybe with a fish, but he's ordering another round, which you're not sure that you approve of. But Doyle, you're sort of looking around and you see this guy up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not 100% sure, but he looks a lot like one of the guys driving the tractor last night at the launch pad.
Got it.
Which guy?
This
Up
guy
there.
up here.
Oh, I see him.
As you kind of look it over there, you see that those two, and especially this woman here, are eyeballing you pretty hard. Everybody sort of stopped and stared when you guys walked in, but most everybody's sort of now minding their own business. The novelty of having some off-worlders in the bar is sort of worn off. But they keep looking over and they're talking in much lower tones.
Okay, great. I'm gonna signal to the nice bar lady and ma'am, would you please send a round of drinks over there? And I indicate that table. Make it some nice good wine, please. Good wine.
Well, if you're interested, I'm just going to let you know right now she's taken.
For the whole table. I'm not trying to have a date, ma'am. I just wanna,
That's what they all say.
I'm just trying to send the neighborly gesture to some people who are, let's be frank, there. I mean, they're staring at us. I just want to prove to them that I'm a nice guy. That's all. So, if you don't mind, I just want to send a round of drinks. Some or send them. Would you please send them a good one of your better bottles of your lovely wine? And by the way, the wine here on this on your lovely world is thrilling. It's delightful. I'm gonna have to come back here often.
Well, like we said, we don't get many skinnies here, but if you keep buying wine from my patrons, I'll ensure that you'll always have a seat at my bar.
A pleasure is mine.
And she goes back behind the bar and she grabs a bottle and some glasses and she walks up to the spot, and you can see her sort of over here. She steps to the bar, she sets it down, and you're not sure what's going on over there. But there does seem to be, she sets the bar down, she uncorks the wine and begins to pour it and then stops. And there's some words over there that you can't, they're talking, especially the woman is just like, and they're talking about stuff. And she's like, you can hear very clearly the bartender go, well, if you don't want it, all you have to do is say so. You don't have to be a bitch about it. And she puts the cork back in the bottle and she grabs up the glasses and turns around with a huff. And she says, and she comes back over and she comes back over to you guys and she lays the bottle on the table in front of you and the glasses. And she says, they've decided that they are not interested in entertaining drinks from Skinnies tonight. So I apologize for the behavior of my shitty patrons. Yells out and looks at him, but they're being real arseholes, and I've had it with them, and I'm getting ready to boot them out of here. I apologize for the rudeness that they've shown to you tonight. She puts the bottle down, and she's like, she steps over here, and you hear her yell it out. And she's like, "You lot, out!"
Oh, ma'am, ma'am, really, not on my account. You don't have to. I'm launching a feeble protest.
Well, she kind of looks over to. She says, "Look,
No need.
you're skinny, so you don't understand, and that's quite all right. But no one follows the path of rudeness in my place." And she turns back over to them. "You heard me. Out with you." And so these three just sort of like stand up, and then they begin moving out their and they do. Whoops, hold on a second. I moved the light when I shouldn't have. And they sort of like cluster together, and the woman says something to her, and they both give you guys sort of like dirty looks as they talk to her. And you can see as they walk out past Mehmet, you hear him pretty clearly say to her, "Elizabeth, you take a skinny side of as ours. You could take your stupid gin hole and shove it up your arse." And she's like, "You're banned for 1 week." And he's like, "Take your band and shove it." And out the door they go.
Wow.
Hey, Les,
Yeah.
I'm going to study this guy for a little bit.
Okay.
And when they leave, I'm going to come out.
This guy here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to come out and kind of duck over here and then
Okay.
change my appearance to him.
All right.
Wow.
I want to see if I can catch up with those guys leaving and follow them.
All right. Whoa. You are now this guy.
That's
on.
what you do.
Hold on. I got to change his security thing so you can move him. It's very difficult. Controlled by TAM Pilot Space Hero. All right. See if you can
Yep.
move him.
Yes,
All right,
I
cool.
can.
All right. I'm going to move you to the GM later. All right. So you see these guys like pop around the corner. Let me give you some vision because I don't know that I gave these guys any.
I don't have any vision.
Okay. Hold on a sec.
I'm at the edge of my lamp right there.
That's why you've never made a good leader.
Ooh, that's going to. Was that vicious mockery? Make a save.
You've always lacked vision.
All right. I'm going to need a wisdom save from you, Don. And if you don't make it, you're at disadvantage next round. All right, you turn around, and these guys are sort of walking off the other direction, murmuring to themselves, and sort of like, "Oh, she's Elizabeth is a bitch. I don't know what's going on." And then she's like, "Don't worry about her. We can do. We don't have to come to this place. There's many other places. She only banned us for a week. But the fact that she's going to be a pissy about this all the time, it just makes me sick. Just because we didn't want to take any skinny drinks. I don't know what that is about. It's probably, I don't know why you got so upset about it." They're like arguing amongst themselves as they walk. They kind of turn around and look at you, and they're like, at first they do it like a sort of a double take, and then I'll
let them get farther ahead of me. I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna follow them?
Yeah.
Well, at one point they stop, and you can see they sort of turn around again, and they're like, What happened, Edmund? Did they kick you out too?"
I just gotta get home.
All right. Well, you're going the wrong way, you drunken fool. You live on the other side of town.
That's right. That's right. I forgot.
Don doesn't sound like Shrek at all.
This is great.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Sorry about that.
This is wonderful. Going the wrong way. Right.
So you go back around the corner?
Yeah.
Okay. They keep going in the northward direction. But I mean, they're just kind of like, they don't seem to be in any hurry. They're not acting surreptitiously or secretive or anything like that. They're just bitching about how they got kicked out,
Right.
as people do. I've heard.
All
All right. So do you change back to Mehmet? Or are you going to stay that guy forever?
I'd like to follow them more, even from more of a distance, and try to stay in the shadows.
Okay, you can try that. Kind of like give him a little bit of space and then retake off against them. Go ahead and give me. I guess that's something like that. A stealth check would be like a dex check.
So I go to follow them. I stumble. They look at me again like, oh shit, I'm still going the wrong way. I'll
You
go back
fucking
and change
idiot.
back into
Go
Tam.
home.
Clearly drunk.
This is great.
You're clearly fucked.
I'll go back in as Tam. This is not working for me.
Oh shit.
Two. Oh god.
So whatever that shit show was at least amusing enough that'll go on a memory roll here.
I just typed, Edmund, you're clearly fucked. Yeah, that didn't work out great. But so the guy that you were originally watching is still there though, and he keeps drinking. The people at the other table cleared out. Everybody at the banquet table that you guys are sort of thinking, everybody's sort of like, she's apologetic, but that apology stance goes to one, and then she's like, have another drink, and everybody's at one point, one of these guys kind of like comes over and he's like, excuse me, I've never met any skinnies before. My name my name is Walter. Do you mind me asking what your names are and where you hail from?
Oh hey, nice to meet you. We have an extra bottle of wine. Care for a glass?
Well, I can't abandon my friends. May we join you?
You're welcome. I'm Coffin, and we're here just to.
Coffin, that's a strange name. Is that a Terran name?
Yes, it is actually. Terran. Doyle. Coffin Doyle. I'm my family long back is from Ireland, which I'm sure is famous throughout the universe. Ireland.
That's what we heard stories about. They said that the gods invented whiskey to keep the Irish from taking over the universe.
Precisely. And it has worked.
so far so good.
They have not.
So they're saying, well, we can't move our table, but why don't you join us over at our table? Sort of gather around. You guys can pull chairs together, and you can hear who you now know is Elizabeth from behind the bar. She's like, "Don't go messing with me skinnies," and they're like, "We're not messing with them. We're buying them a drink, you fool lady." And so they're all. So you guys eventually talking about it. So Walter, who I just stretched out in a weird way, introduces them around, and he says, here's my good mate Tom, and my other good mate Everard, and this here is Anka. He kind of goes around the table. The woman's Anka, and then you have Tom here, Edmund's twin, and this is Everard. He says, like, we don't see many skinnies around, from download. Most of the time they don't stay. They deliver whatever cargo, pick up the products of our great planet and head back to Cymbeline. So are you from Cymbeline? You must be, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But you're obviously not Cymbeliners. So where do you you're from Ireland? Is it a big planet or a small planet, or is it a part of a doubled star system?
Where my family way back is from Terra, but I'm sort of a lonely wanderer, and I have been security officer with my colleagues on our merchant ship, and we deliver cargo. We run a business, and we are delivery agents, and we take pride in our work, but we're very friendly, and I'm actually a very social guy. It's not nice to meet you all. And I must say, what a lovely town you have, and I feel right at home here.
So yeah, I mean, it's pretty cordial. These guys seem genuinely interested. It's obvious that they don't talk to people from off planet very often. It's rare that people from off planet even come to this planet. When they do, it's usually all business, and then they're backing up and out as quickly as possible once they've got their cargo loaded. They certainly don't hang out. You guys have a fairly pleasant conversation. Everything's going well. At one point, though, you guys notice that this guy Rolf falls off his chair. He zigs when he should have zags, and he ends up on his ass behind his chair. At which point, Elizabeth comes over and says, "All right, Rolf, you fucking idiot. You're done for the night. You've fallen off your chair. That's the signal. It's time for you to go home." And he's like, all right, I'm going home. I've had enough. How about a traveler, Elizabeth? And she's like, you take your traveler and shove it up your arse. And he's like, all right, you don't have to be such a wench about it. He's like, call me a wench again, and you'll get a weak ban like those other two did. And he's like, all right, I'm going. And she's like,
My assist, we have a doctor here that does our roles with me.
you're talking to Rolf?
No, I'm actually
Barmaid.
Oh, to Elizabeth?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, he doesn't need any assistance. He's just a drunk. Now get the hell out. And he's like, I'm going. So he sort of begins ambling drunkenly over towards the door. You get the impression that this is something that Rolf does on the regular. He's a chair faller offer.
Gotcha. Got it. Well,
He's clearly inebriated.
Does Mr. Rolf need an escort home? In fact, let me make sure that Mr. Rolf gets home safely.
Elizabeth kind of looks at you funny. She's like, I don't know how it works on skinny planets, but Rolf knows his way home.
And
Edmund might not, but Rolf does.
in Ireland, when one of our mates falls off his chair, we always make sure that he gets home safe. But I will respect your customs.
No, Rolf's like an old dog. He'll find his way home even if he has to sleep in the gutter tonight, which he's not going to do in my gutters, right, Rolf? Yeah, I got it. And so he sort of staggers out the door. He's obviously inebriated, but he's not so inebriated that he can't walk. I mean, he's not blithering. He sort of like ambles out. Your guess is that he just fell off his chair because he's uncoordinated and drunk, not that he's incapacitated.
Got it. Okay.
So these guys continue talking. I mean, obviously, Rolf falling off his chair is nothing too notable that everybody picks up, and certainly Elizabeth seems eminently confident that he'll be fine. I mean, she seems genuinely confused when you ask, should we escort him home? That's not a thing. I mean, they don't really have crime in the same sense that we do. Everybody walks their path, and they, like I said before, they don't have like a police department. They don't have that kind of stuff.
I'm quick to explain that back where I come from a rough neighborhood, and in my hometown of Galway, back when my family's town, we would make sure that our friends get home safe, especially after an evening of perhaps enjoying the.
I've heard tales of other planets that don't follow the paths, and it seems so odd to me that you would need to escort somebody home. But he's safe as a kitten, though. Don't worry.
Okay.
Hey, guys, just to check here, we had basically 3 suspects in one spot, and we let them all 3 of them walk out the door. So what's their plan here? This ale is quite delicious, I have to say.
Send Edmund after him.
Not Edmund again. Couldn't you be someone else, Tam?
How about I go to the bar?
Someone
I'm just gonna be me and follow him home.
Someone with better roles, maybe.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be me and follow him home right now.
Yeah, how about I go to the bar and
You'll
chat
have-
up Elizabeth a little bit?
All right, so you're gonna go up to the bar. Like you're gonna sit in Rolf's spot, or
Yeah,
okay.
like I
And
said,
Tam, you're
Edward's
gonna
always looking for his next space wife, so he's chat up Elizabeth here.
okay. And Tam, you're gonna follow Rolf.
Yep.
Okay. What about the rest of you, Doctor? What are you doing, Captain Black, Coffin? You're with the other locals, having a fine time. They're very curious about spacefaring and stuff like that. It's just an alien subject to them. They don't go to space. They don't they don't meet people from outside a planet. It's really very small towny.
Got it. Well,
Seem like they have money to spend on, powdered tiger penis and other
It hasn't
Homeopathic
come up.
treatments.
Well, so the weird thing that you have not seen here is
Money
money
exchanging.
changing hands.
Right.
Oh,
It's a commune.
oh,
So how are we gonna pay?
we're in a socialist backwater.
Oh yeah, that's socialist backwater. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, no, and Elizabeth for her part has never asked you for any money.
As
How
long
do
as
you
everyone
go
pulls
about
their
buying
own,
people drinks?
as long as everyone pulls their own weight, it's great. But Whitnerin is this lazy loafer, social outcast almost. They don't know what to do with him.
All right, so Coffin's talking. Dr. Wagner is considering a quick tiger penis sale. Captain Black, what about you?
I'm just having another drink.
Just having another drink and ruining your intelligence score. Okay, so all right, so Mehmet, you follow Rolf, and Rolf is staggering down the street. He is not paying attention to you, unlike the other guys. Give me an intelligence check.
No.
Come on, you could do it.
That's a failed intelligence check.
10. All right. So your guess is based on what Huguet was able to tell you and the information that you got from the elders, your guess is that he's staggering towards his house, which is not very far away.
Right.
At least if you've got the map right and that kind of stuff. Your guess that he's maybe 2 or 3 blocks from this place. It's an easy, relatively straight walk.
well,
I don't think I know where he lives, so I'm following to find out.
You have his address.
yeah.
Oh, we do. Oh, yeah.
His address. We do have the address.
Yeah, you follow him for a couple of blocks. He pays 0 attention to you. You hear him mumble a little bit, and eventually he turns into a place, opens the door, and goes in. It's a small, kind of disreputable looking cottage along the street.
Great.
It has
So what-
multiple of these cottages.
I think it's time to pay a late night visit to our friend Rolf. I'm gonna politely make some excuses. I'm gonna start to act rather drunker than I am. I had a great time. That was a lot of fun. Tomorrow's gonna be also. Phew, I'm just not used to this gravity, my friends, and I can usually drink any amount under I think I should probably go on. Yeah, all right. Hey, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I think your names were let me see, Walter, Tom, Everard, and Anka. Nice to meet you all. You are lovely people. Lovely. I'm gonna. All right. Thanks very much. And Ms. Elizabeth, thank you. What a fine establishment. Well, boy, I better. Okay. Good
Welcome
night,
to
everybody. Good night.
Tewfik, you wee skinnies.
Yep.
Good night, everybody. I had a great time. That was really fun. I've been stuck on a spaceship for my time, my boy.
All right, so you guys basically begin. I'm assuming that Dr. Wagner and Captain Black, you guys kind of follow Coffin's lead and head out. Weber, is there anything you're gonna do while you're at the bar? You're gonna chat up the guys next to you or anything like that? Ask them some questions.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna use what Weber does best, which is chatting and carousing. He's got skills in carousing here.
Excellent.
And basically, my line of inquiry, once I feel everybody's comfortable enough, is what were the problems of the people? They don't like buying, get drinks and skinnies, and see if I can get some names and maybe locations out of them. Like, I'd like to make it out for them. I don't want to, be insulted to the people of these towns.
The people back in the corner? Yeah. I don't know what they were all. Boinked about. The lady that was Joanna and her Joanna Tober is her name, and that's her old man Daniel Tober across the way from him, and the guy next to him was Isaac Tischmesser.
And, well, I got what I needed, but I'm going to stay at the bar and see what else I can learn here. I don't feel like I'm in any imminent danger here, and So
No,
I'm
they
gonna-
seem friendly enough. I mean, the
Yeah.
sort of the novelty of you guys being off-worlders come out, and obviously, Coffin's gone a long way. He was talking with those guys, and sort of, they had approached you all, and so everybody sort of got over the idea that, oh my God, there's aliens here, and then got into, boy, I'm really curious about these aliens. So when you up to the bar in Rolf's seat, they were just like, be careful, there might be a wet spot on there, and Rolf loves his gin.
I want to make it clear that Weber works in space, but these are his people. They might be in a high grav dwarven world, but he's a barfly by hobby. So these are his people.
Showing him
He's
some
gonna-
tricks and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. He's gonna make the best of getting some carousing songs going along, and learn some dirty jokes or tell some dirty jokes.
Okay.
Maybe get a better explanation of how money works around here. Like if I wanted the good stuff, like some good scotch or something, if there's such a thing.
Well, usually, so they'll say, look, yeah. So usually, we all, we all use credits like anyone else, but there's such a pain in the arse to use, and the elders don't like it. So the elders have a thing where they bank up credit, galactic credits that we use to trade with the Symbolines, and then what they do is they print out paper credits for us to use for transactions and stuff. But nobody likes to use them because it's reminiscent. It's the other paths, the paths we don't trod. We don't typically use them. So what'll happen is I come in here, Elizabeth knows who I am. I order a few drinks at the end of the month if she feels like I need to. So in between times, I come in here a few drinks, but then Elizabeth will come to me and say, "Hey, I need you to deliver a few of those delicious rashers of bacon that your pigs come from, and I'll bring them by." And at the end of the month, we sort of settle up. I'll have delivered a half dozen rashers of bacon, drank a couple of bottles of wine. We figure out if there's any justice, and then we'll trade a little paper then.
So I'm gonna ask Elizabeth. So me and my friends, we're drinking here. We want to make it right with you before we leave. What do we need to do for you, or how do we settle up?
Well,
as it were?
Sugar, well, it's pretty common knowledge that you've taken Hugott's hospitality, right?
Yeah.
So what we'll do is I'll check in with Hugott after you guys depart or whatever, and he'll recompense me in whatever way seems best for whatever you've taken from me in the interim. I know Hugott. Hugott is a good friend of mine. I know his wine from his vintage is good, so I'll take it to I'll recompense myself for the drinks that you've had here tonight with a few bottles of Hugott's good wine from his farm.
Oh, this is a lot of paperwork. Paperwork to keep track of who owes what.
Oh, we all know each other, right? So it's easy once you know.
I know,
It gets a little
sticky.
sticky if it's people we don't know from the villages. They come to the city. They don't really understand our way, and so we have to explain it to them. But there's always if you get someone from an outlying village, they come in and they may have a drink or two. They know that to deny it would be a clear wavering from the path. And so even some of my customers that come from some of the farthest villages, it may take a week or two, but I almost always get a package of something, a fresh chicken or some good milkweed or all sorts of things to make it right.
I'm sure we can find something from space to bring to settle up our bill. Setting aside Huguenot part of this. Okay.
He's offered you and you have accepted his hospitality. That creates that means he's obligated for what you do.
Well, be it on his head then.
Don't screw him. I'll come find you. I'll fly to Cymbeline on the next transport, and I'll come find you, and I'll pound your wee head in. You're pretty sure she could do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's like when Bill Murray in that bank robbery movie goes, and then he said, "Up your butt with a coconut," and I think he was prepared to do it. I laughed so hard at that. Basically, yeah. I mean, so it's like They basically trade goods and services with each other. They agree mutually that this is effective recompense. And if it's too far out of whack because somebody had to do something, then they trade around the paper credits that they use. But you haven't seen a single paper credit all night.
I'm going to act very fascinated about this and just say, so let me understand, what is it you do? And I'll ask you, my fellow bar patrons right here, what they're doing, get a little thing. And then Joanne and her husband, Donnie, what do they do? The Donnie Tolbert? What is it? So they
Daniel Tober.
Daniel. And their friend, what was their friend's name?
Isaac Tishman.
Yeah, so what was it? Somebody like those folks in the back, that didn't like this fine drink. What is it they do around this little town?
Well, Daniel and Joanna. So Daniel is good at fixing timepieces, watches, and clocks. So he does that. He has followed the path of mechanics. He has followed also the path of intricacy. So he's found himself to be very good at that's what he does. So he fixes the clocks. Johanna, she has done a fair amount of delivering of babies. She's followed the path of midwifery and the path of medicine, as well as the path of herbs. So she knows a great deal about that kind of stuff, and she's got a reputation as being good with birthing. In a high grav planet, you would imagine that birthing babies is a trial, and so having a good midwife on hand is probably very thing. See, he kind of looks funny. He's like, I'm not sure what Isaac does. He's a bit of a layabout, a bit like Rolf. I've seen him driving a truck around town, carrying things various to and fro. So I imagine he does a bit of that. I don't know what path he's followed. He and I come from different places, so I never learned his path. We're not really all that well acquainted. But I do see him driving a truck quite a bit, and he seems to have a fair capacity for it. So maybe that's what he does.
Nice truck, got it. The poor Rolf, he seems to be, no matter where you go in the universe, he's always a gentleman like Rolf, always at the bar, But what path does he follow?
Rolf, he follows his own path. I don't know that he's followed any path except trying to squeeze as much gin in his liver as he can possibly get in it. I know that he's done a few steps in various directions, but Rolf is a bit, and so Elizabeth will sort of jump in here. She's like, Rolf is a bit of a project. He's a bit aimless. To be honest, he's not real good at anything that he's that he's tried to path out to. So we're trying to, he's still trying to think. I think he's a bit discouraged because he hasn't found anything that he's good at. Or that he can make a way for himself. We sort of indulge him, and we don't lean too hard on him. And sometimes he'll come around here to sort of pay his gin bill, and he'll do a bit of cleaning for me, and wiping out the tons and making sure the pipes on the tubes on the kegs are clean, and he'll do a little work around here, a little bit of this and this and that. But he's a bit of a project around here in the neighborhood.
I'm telling you guys, we got to take Rolf to space with us. We could straighten him up and make him fly right.
Don't hurt him. He's a decent enough guy. He's got some weird ideas. He's always got a complaint or two about whatever the latest bull from the elders is. Can't seem to wrap his head. You've traveled the stars. There's always misfits and everywhere you go. We don't have an island where we can put them, with the rest of the misfit toys. But perhaps someday he'll find his path. Everyone finds their path eventually.
Well, I think this has been a wealth of information, so I'm gonna just hang out and maybe learn a bawdy song I can sing with my friends here until we decide to make our exit.
All right, sounds good. Well, everybody else is sort of like making their way. You look around about the time you get done talking with these guys. You look around and it looks pretty clear that Coffin has drunk a bit more than he should have, and so you see everybody. He's sort of like taking his leave, and he's sort of heading for the door. And Wagner and Wagner and Black are sort of behind him. And you see Black sort of like look over to you and is like, with the it's time to go look kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
I'm gonna thank Lisbeth and my new barfly friends for a lovely evening. And if I hear another night, I will definitely.
Elizabeth's like, are you going to be staying in longer on how long are you going to be in on our planet?
I don't know. how long does it take to court a woman like you? Size of it.
Ah, you sweet talking me. It's a skinny tradition, isn't it? She's like, I'm a patched woman. You can't have me, but I appreciate the effort. And she says, well, if you find yourself staying in our fair city for more than a couple of more days, come on by and have a few more drinks. We'd welcome you.
Appreciate it. So I will head out with the gang and make sure we are on at least. I'm not really drunk. I'm just play acting along here, so I will be on high alert. Make sure nobody who left before us will be waiting for us in the darkness.
Okay. You guys get outside. Tam's out there waiting for you, sort of like against the wall, smoking a cigarette under the, away from the lights. And he's like, what do you, I mean, you tell him what you say?
He went home. Basically,
right.
I just say, I followed him home. He went home. He went inside.
Oh,
I'm reading the chat here. I don't know what that's about. Masturbating electric fireplaces.
In this gravity?
Rip your dick off.
All right, so what was our plan after he went home? What were we gonna do? You were gonna.
There were several plans that got bandied around. I'm not sure that any of them got followed, though.
I got it.
go on.
I got the names that we needed anyway.
Yeah.
So now we just maybe we ask Huguenot where we can find those folks.
Well, should we start with a little? Okay. Matt. Weber. Can you fill me in exactly on what names you got? I'm sorry.
So the names of the people. So he basically tried to get the names of the people that were at that table that you tried to send the drinks to, and they got all huffy about it and got kicked out of the bar.
All right.
Joanna and Daniel Tober. She's a midwife. He fixes clocks, makes and fixes clocks. And then the other man that they were with was Isaac Tishmeyer, who Elizabeth was not entirely sure what it was. Either she didn't know him as well, but she's seen him around town. She thinks he might be a truck driver.
He's my number one target for mastermind of this little operation here.
Les,
Mm-hmm.
on the screen that you share, will you scroll down to the bottom of that? Because they're looking at things that were said last session. Where it says they make electric fireplaces. The chat portion of it. Scroll down to the bottom.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I didn't remember saying that, but yes, I did, 4 weeks ago.
Sorry. I usually get that up. That I don't necessarily put that in there so people can send messages, but that's okay.
Thanks, Don. I had no idea. I was like, what?
Clocks and bombs.
Yeah, when you were saying he works with clocks, I'm like, clocks and bombs.
All they need is some ammonia fertilizer and a little diesel fuel.
Yeah, where would they possibly find any of that?
Yeah, goodness, on an agricultural planet, that's crazy. All right, so you guys, so Tam's like, I followed him to his house. He's in his house. He was pretty hammered. It's doubtful that he skedaddled after I left. He wasn't watching the place, but he's just a couple of blocks away.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to go down there?
I would like
Who
to.
do we have as stealthy? I always look to Don to be the stealthy one. So who's
Not Tam.
Yeah.
Mehmet Tam is not stealthy. He's a gambler.
With
I would
two
say if
left.
we were more prepared, we'd have a drone or something you'd throw in there, but I don't think we.
Don't confuse him with Gatto.
So considering their economic system, you can see why gambling isn't a thing here.
Yeah, I know.
It's just it's a really weirdly bartery web of obligations and sort of mutually assured goods and services that get passed around as an economic system, which could
It's a
only work in a
socialist-
small.
It's a socialist economic system, which works fine, except for when you get people like Whitnerin in it.
Right. And they seem, I mean, talking to Elizabeth, she seems really sort of indulgent of him. Obviously, he didn't get a lot of,
If there's only
fair
one
talk.
of them, you can be indulgent, but when
Right.
there gets to be more of them is when it becomes a problem.
I guess they feel like, she seemed to give the indication that, he just hadn't found what his thing was, and they
Yes.
they definitely got
Haven't
the
found it
impression
yet.
that you know, that when he does, then, you know, when he finds his path, that path will be productive for the society, because that is the way of the gods, and, you know, he will be able to recoup all of this stuff that he's sort of coasting on in his. He's not an old guy either. He's probably in his mid-20s. I mean, it's hard to tell with these
Maybe Papa
heavy
Dorothy
gravity
take
guys.
him under his wing and teach him the path of violence.
Path of violence.
The path of the spoon.
But you could see also for a person like Rolf, the attraction of, if you have somebody who is powerful and smart and has ideas of changing the ways of the society, Rolf might consider himself to be slighted by the society, right? He might say, this society doesn't work for me. These guys may, you know, would potentially pump him full of bubble gas and say, hey, look, when we make changes, you will be a top guy in our
Right.
organization, you know, and that could be very appealing to somebody like with Rolf's personality, who has trouble finding their way.
I would like to go talk with Rolf, but it's past midnight.
Oh shit, is it?
Oh,
man,
yeah.
I'm sorry. Do you guys you're right. So it is. Do you guys want to stop here?
Yeah, I gotta
Let's
go.
stop here.
Good
Okay.
spot.
I think
What are you talking about? It wasn't like I was even playing 2.5 hours. Oh, right, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that flew by. I hope that felt the
Flew by.
same with you. I had a really good time tonight, and I hope that you guys don't feel like you guys were ripped off because you didn't get to shoot a gun at somebody.
We'll kill him.
I
We'll
like
kill
the-
him next time. We know where
Yeah.
he lives.
Okay.
You know, I obviously we have plenty of combat in some of our other games, but I like the slow burn of this one.
Yeah.
me too. I had lots of fun.
Good.
And I think that it was a slow discovery. This was good. Yeah. Thank you.
Good deal.
Good
No,
spot.
I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I will. So 4 weeks from tonight, I think. Hold on, let me check. C Team will be on July. I don't know.
I don't know.
It'll be on July. I don't know. Here we go. Sorry, it's taking me a second.
25th.
July 25th. Yep. And cool. And then so next week will be A Team on Independence Day. So those of you who are on Independence Day, just know who are on A Team, just remember that we agreed that we were going to go late, and that our current time frame for those of you, and this may be especially pertinent to those of you on the East Coast, A Team, Dan and Matt, is they were originally talking about from 10 to 2
Yeah.
Central,
I can do it.
which would
Well,
be
normally-
11 to 3.
Wow.
You're gonna see me
Or
shotgun
11
a
and
Red
2.
Bull. You're gonna see me shotgun a Red Bull. I'm off that whole next week.
Look, Dan, look at Dan's.
I'm
You're
out.
off too?
That's the
All
way
right,
it
I'm
made.
dropping off.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle the dragon
Yeah,
without
true.
flesh.
Yeah, so lots going on. All right, so thanks again, you guys. This was awesome.
Thank
I
you.
will see y'all soon.
See you
Sounds
soon.
good. Later.
Thank you. Good
All right.
afternoon. Thank-
Later.
Hi. Hey, Matt.